Chapter 160. Now that my cultivation has reached the martial grandmaster realm, I wonder if I can go up to the third platform. With this thought, Lu Ming's gaze turned to the third platform after the 99th step. That platform was empty except for a stone platform. Previously, Lu Ming had been unable to go up. Now that the chanting sound had disappeared, would he be able to ascend to the third platform? Lu Ming stood up and walked towards the third platform. Soon, he arrived at the 99th step. With one step, Lu Ming stepped onto the third platform without any hindrance. Sure enough, I'm up. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. There was a box on each of the first two platforms, which was of great help to Lu Ming. However, this platform was empty. What help could there be? Lu Ming looked around and walked around, but he didn't find anything. Finally, he came to the stone platform. It was a very ordinary square stone platform. However, there was a pit in the middle of the stone platform, which looked a little special. What's this for? Is it an array base? Or is it? Lu Ming looked carefully, but he still couldn't figure it out. This pit is similar to the size of the spiritual crystal. Lu Ming pondered. Then, his palm glowed and a spiritual crystal appeared in his hand. He wanted to try and put the spiritual crystal into the pit. Unexpectedly, as soon as he got close, a strong suction force came from the pit. The spiritual crystal in Lu Ming's hand flew out and into the pit. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared into the pit. Buzz! Then, the pit shook slightly and a hazy light was emitted. However, the light only flashed and disappeared. Then, it fell silent and there was no movement. What's going on? There was clearly movement just now. Could it be that I don't have enough spiritual crystals? If so, I'll continue to add. Lu Ming pondered and immediately took out another piece of spirit crystal. It was also sucked into the pit by the suction force. However, just like before, a light flashed on the stone platform and disappeared. Lu Ming continued to add spiritual crystals. 3, 4, 8, 9, when the 9th piece was added, a bright light shot up into the sky from the stone platform. Around the stone platform, mysterious inscriptions appeared. These inscriptions continued to spread until they covered the entire platform. Finally, a figure condensed on one side of the platform. The face of this figure could not be seen clearly as it stood there with a straight back. Condense a human figure? What is it for? Lu Ming was astonished and walked over. Let's do it, fight me. The figure suddenly spoke. Lu Ming was stunned. He couldn't see the face of this figure. It could be said that it was formed from energy, but it could actually speak. Fight with you? Lu Ming asked. Let's do it, fight me. The figure repeated the previous sentence without the slightest emotion. So it doesn't have any intelligence. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. Then, his eyes flickered. After thinking for a while, he suddenly threw out a punch. The Temple of Paragon was extremely mysterious. There must be a reason why he should give it a try since the other party had asked for it. Boom! Lu Ming used the Flame Dragon Fist. However, what shocked Lu Ming was that the other party also threw out a punch at the same time. It was the Flame Dragon Fist. Boom! When the two fists collided, Lu Ming felt a scorching hot true qi surging toward him. He couldn't help but take 3 steps back. When he looked again, the other party had also taken 3 steps back. The true dragon of combat art. The other party is also using the true dragon of combat art. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with horror. Martial techniques could be imitated, but how could one imitate cultivation techniques? However, the other party was really using the true dragon of combat art. Lu Ming could not be wrong. Let's try again. Lu Ming threw out a few punches, but the other party also threw out a few punches. They were all using the flame dragon fist. The two of them exchanged a few punches and then took a few steps back. There's no mistake. It's really the true dragon of combat art. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with disbelief. He felt that fighting with the other party was like fighting with himself. Then, what about sword techniques? Lu Ming moved his hand and a battle sword appeared. He used the flowing light sword technique and slashed at the other party. However, the other party also condensed a battle sword in his hand and used the flowing light sword technique. In fact, when Lu Ming used the airborne steps, the other party also used the airborne steps. Astral Fire Spear Technique, Chasing Lightning. Lu Ming put away his combat sword and took out his fiery tongue spear, unleashing his strongest combat power. However, the other party used the Astral Fire Spear technique and his strength was no weaker than Lu Ming's. It could be said that he was exactly the same as Lu Ming. Whatever martial arts technique Lu Ming used, the figure would also use the same martial arts technique. Even the strength of the technique was the same. Lu Ming finally confirmed that the other party was actually himself, another him condensed by the inscription formation. He was fighting with himself. What a wonderful feeling. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He had always been fighting with the enemy, but he had never fought with himself. Then let's have a big fight. In that case, Lu Ming was too lazy to think about it. He let go of his body and mind and erupted with all his strength to fight with the figure. However, no matter what means he used, the other party would also use it. No matter how strong he was, the other party was not inferior at all. He was completely himself. Boom! Boom! In the blink of an eye, more than 300 moves had been exchanged, but there was still no winner. How could he win against himself? However, Lu Ming's face showed a surprised smile. Wonderful, wonderful. It turns out that there is such a flaw in my martial technique. Moreover, when I use my spear, I also have a bad habit. Lu Ming's eyes were full of ecstasy. In the great battle just now, he discovered his own shortcomings. After more than 300 moves in a row, he tried his best to find the other party's flaw and defeat him in every move. Wasn't finding the other party's flaw the same as finding his own flaw? He found that his spear technique, which he thought was perfect, actually had some shortcomings. Moreover, when he used his spear, he also had a bad habit. These were very subtle. Normally, it would be impossible to find out. Only when he fought with himself with all his strength could he find out. However, how could ordinary people fight with him? At this moment, Lu Ming realized that the figure condensed by the inscription array was more useful than the chanting of scriptures. How good could the cultivation and comprehension of martial techniques be if he fought with himself all the time? Lu Ming felt excited at the thought of it. Continue. Lu Ming recuperated for a while and continued to fight with this figure. Every time, Lu Ming attacked with all his strength. He exchanged hundreds of moves with the other party and only stopped when his genuine qi was exhausted. In this way, Lu Ming stopped 3 times in a row. That was because the figure had suddenly disappeared. He disappeared. What's going on? Chapter 161. Could it be because the spiritual crystals have been used up? Lu Ming thought. It would definitely require energy to form such a figure and have an intense battle with him. Lu Ming walked to the stone platform and found that it had dimmed and returned to its original state. It seems that it needs spiritual crystals to operate. Lu Ming felt relieved after finding the problem. However, it was not the time to continue cultivating. He was still in the small plane. This was a small plane left behind by the ancestors of the Eastern barbarians. It might contain great opportunities and Lu Ming did not want to miss it. I'll study it in the future. Lu Ming muttered. Then, he left the Temple of Paragon. Apart from the main hall, there are other places in this place that I haven't explored yet. I'll continue to explore before going to other places. Lu Ming moved and started to explore the dilapidated palace. Most of the palace was dilapidated and collapsed. Only a few places still looked okay. Unfortunately, Lu Ming searched more than 10 rooms, side halls, and main halls but to no avail. It was empty. It seems that there's nothing left in this place. There's still the backyard. If I don't find anything, I'll leave this place. Lu Ming ran to the backyard. The backyard was very spacious, but it was barren and full of weeds. Lu Ming was disappointed. He shook his head and was about to leave. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes moved. There was a special place in the middle of the backyard. There was no grass in the area with a radius of 10 meters. It was barren. And right in the middle, there was a rusty iron rod stuck there. The other places were full of weeds, but this was the only place that was barren. It was too special. Lu Ming was very curious. He walked over and looked at it carefully. The ground was made of a kind of grayish-brown rock. It was very hard. Lu Ming stepped on it and it did not move at all. There were no signs of it breaking. No wonder there was no grass. The iron rod was rusty. God knew how long it had been exposed to wind and rain. It's not an iron rod. It's a long spear. After looking at it carefully, Lu Ming was stunned. It was a long spear. However, the spearhead was stuck in the ground. Lu Ming mistook it for an iron rod. This long spear must be extraordinary. I can't miss it. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Then, he grabbed the long spear with both hands and pulled it out. The long spear shook slightly, but he did not pull it out. Lu Ming was taken aback. Although he did not use all his strength just now, the force of his pull was enough to lift up a huge rock that weighed 100,000 pounds. However, he could not pull out a long spear that was stuck in the ground. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The more this was the case, the more extraordinary the spear was. With a loud shout, Lu Ming unleashed his full strength. Boom! His true qi was boiling and there was a loud boom on the ground. Lu Ming's muscles were bulging. He had the strength to uproot mountains and his aura was unparalleled. Clang! A clanging sound could be heard and Lu Ming finally pulled out the long spear that was stuck in the ground. Roar! At this moment, there was a beast roar at the place where the long spear was pulled out. Then, a black shadow condensed from the ground. It was a huge black lizard. However, it was not a physical body. It was an illusory body. Roar! The huge lizard roared and pounced on Lu Ming. This is the soul of a demonic beast. Lu Ming was shocked. He quickly retreated. However, the black lizard was only halfway there when it suddenly exploded. It turned into wisps of black gas and dissipated. Phew! Lu Ming exhaled. It seemed that it was just a demonic beast's remnant soul. God knows how long it had been suppressed. It was so weak that it dissipated on its own. The scene fell into silence once more, and everything returned to normal. Lu Ming relaxed and looked at the long spear in his hand. The long spear was 8 feet long. The tip of the spear was 8 inches long. However, it was covered in rust. It was almost impossible to see its original appearance. However, the weight of the long spear was shocking. Lu Ming estimated that it was at least 10,000 pounds. This weight is not bad. Lu Ming held the long spear and waved it a few times. The long spear swept through the air and let out a rumbling sound. It was like thunder in the 9 heavens. What made Lu Ming very satisfied was that the softness and elasticity of the long spear were not bad. It was much better than the fire-tongue spear. Although he could not tell what level this long spear was, Lu Ming liked it very much just based on its weight and elasticity. There are words. At this moment, Lu Ming noticed that there were two small words on the shaft of the spear. Demon suppression. Looking carefully, he realized that it was the two words demon suppression. Demon suppression? Demon suppression spear, what a domineering name. Could it be that the demonic beast remnant soul of that lizard was the demonic beast suppressed by the demon suppression spear? Lu Ming thought. Then, he waved it a few more times and felt that it was very comfortable. The only bad thing was that the body of the spear was rusty. It was very ugly, like a broken spear. Lu Ming planned to find an inscriber to refine it when he returned to the Mystic Essence Sword sect. After putting away the demon suppression spear, Lu Ming looked around and did not find anything else. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he left the place. At this moment, a few hundred miles away from Lu Ming, there was a majestic mountain peak. However, the mountain peak was surrounded by a thick fog. The fog was so thick that it could not be dispersed. Even if a martial artist's eyesight was better than an ordinary person's, he would not be able to see his fingers in the fog. At the outermost edge of the fog, there were hundreds of stone pillars. In front of the stone pillars stood dozens of figures. These were the experts of the Dongi tribe. At the very front stood 3 figures. 2 of them were the Dongi tribe's 5th-level martial grandmasters. The other was a figure wrapped in a black robe and a bamboo hat. He was so skinny that it was impossible to see his face clearly. However, the 2 5th-grade martial grandmasters seemed to be respectful to the man in the black robe and bamboo hat. If I'm not wrong, this mountain is the abode left behind by the Dongi tribe's king. Continue to carve inscriptions on the stone pillars according to my method. Soon, the formation will be broken and the fog will disperse. The man in the black robe and bamboo hat instructed, his voice low and hoarse. Yes, if the Dongi tribe can obtain the inheritance of our ancestor, we will never forget Senior's kindness. One of the 5th-grade martial grandmasters cupped his fists respectfully. Then, the 2 old men walked forward and began to carve inscriptions on the stone pillars. Half an hour later, the hundreds of stone pillars suddenly emitted a dazzling light. The fog around them also began to disperse slowly. At the scene, the Dongi tribesmen were ecstatic. Their eyes were burning with passion. Not long after, the fog dispersed completely. The mountain peak that had been hidden in the fog was finally revealed. It turned out to be a wolf-shaped mountain. The entire mountain was barren, as if it had been carved into a giant wolf by a giant boulder. Chapter 162. It was as if the wolf's mouth was the entrance to the abode. Ha ha ha, we've finally found the abode left behind by our ancestors. The heavens are on our side. The Dongi tribesmen cheered excitedly. Alright, now that the formation at the entrance has been broken, let's go in together. The skinny black-robed man said in a low voice. The 2 Dongi 5th-level martial grandmasters glanced at each other. Their eyes flashed at the same time as they nodded inwardly. Senior, please leave the ruins and return to the army in Dongke City. One of the elders said. The skinny black-robed man was stunned. What do you mean? Senior, this is the ancestral land left behind by our ancestors. You're an outsider. It's not good for you to enter. The other elder said. I understand. You're going to burn the bridge after crossing it. The skinny black-robed man's voice was hoarse and low. That's not right. How can you say that we're burning the bridge after crossing it? We're just asking you to go back first. Once we get the treasures left behind by our ancestors, we'll reward you handsomely. One of the Dongi elders sneered. Huh, you're making it sound so righteous. I've finally realized that you Dongi tribesmen are despicable. If I hadn't provided you with the clues and formation patterns to break the formation, how could you have known where the entrance to the ruins was? How could you have broken the formation? Also, I left some men behind to help you block the geniuses of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. I've done my best. Now that we're about to succeed, you're going back on your word. I must be blind. The skinny black-robed man let out an unpleasant, hoarse laugh. Enough. An elder from the Dongi tribe shouted coldly. His face darkened as he said, "This time, you have indeed contributed. As I said earlier, you will be rewarded. Moreover, you sent people to stop the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, but it was useless. The Mystic Essence Sword sect still chased after us, causing us to suffer heavy losses. I haven't settled this debt with you yet. Also, don't think that I don't know your cultivation. I'm just being polite by calling you senior. You'd better know your place. Otherwise, you might not even be able to leave this place." As soon as he finished speaking, the other masters of the Dongi tribe stepped forward and surrounded the skinny black-robed man. Their eyes were filled with hostility. What a bunch of ungrateful people. No wonder the Dongi tribe has declined. But do you think I didn't have a backup plan? The skinny black-robed man sneered. In the next moment, his body suddenly moved. As fast as lightning, he pounced on a burly Dongi man of the martial Grandmaster realm. This time, the speed was too fast. Before the burly man could react, his throat was grabbed by the thin black-robed man. Jinqi poured into the Dongi man's body. The Dongi man's body went limp, unable to resist at all. The skinny black-robed man's throat was gripped by the skinny black-robed man. The skinny black-robed man flashed and escaped the encirclement, retreating to the center of the stone pillars. "What are you doing? Let him go if you don't want to die." A fifth-level martial Grand Master Dongi Elder roared and rushed toward the skinny black-robed man. However, at this moment, a black long sword appeared in the skinny black-robed man's hand. With a swing of the long sword, the Eastern barbarian's head fell to the ground and blood splattered everywhere. "Open for me." The skinny black-robed man's Jinqi spurted out. Blood was driven by his Jinqi, forming streaks of blood that fell on the stone pillars and the ground. Buzz! More than 100 stone pillars suddenly vibrated and emitted a bright light. Then, the light on the 100 over stone pillars gathered together, forming a huge pillar of light that was as large as a mountain, shooting up into the sky. This light pillar was so bright that it could be seen from hundreds of miles away. At this moment, hundreds of miles away, Lu Ming was running through a forest when he suddenly saw the light pillar that shot up into the sky. What is that? Could it be that a rare treasure has appeared? Let's go take a look. With a swift movement, Lu Ming dashed in the direction of the light pillar. At the same time, in different places, the other disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect also saw the light pillar and also rushed toward it. In the light pillar area. If you want to leave me aside and take it for yourself, then let the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect come together. Let's see if you can kill all the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. The skinny black-robed man laughed hoarsely. Damn it! Damn it! The Dongi tribesmen were furious. I'll kill you first. A fifth-grade martial master elder roared and continued to attack the skinny black-robed man. Suddenly, the ground shook. Then, streaks of blood-red light shot out from the ground and attacked the Dongi tribesmen. Ah! Some of the Dongi tribesmen screamed as they were pierced by the blood-red light. At this moment, the crowd was shocked to see that the blood-red light was actually a blood-red vine. The vine was as thick as a finger. It shot out from the ground and wriggled wildly, entangling the Dongi tribesmen. The man who was pierced by the vine let out a shrill scream. His Jinqi burst forth as he tried to break free. However, the blood-red vine was so tough that it was impossible for him to break free. Moreover, it kept wriggling as if it was sucking the man's blood. The Dongi tribesman's body shriveled up at a speed visible to the naked eye. The blood-red vine absorbed the blood and became even crazier. It kept wriggling and attacking the others. There were hundreds of them. It was a lot. Ha ha ha. Enjoy yourselves. The skinny black-robed man was very fast. His thin figure flashed as he dodged the blood-red vines. He rushed toward the wolf-shaped mountain peak. "Damn it! Kill him!" a Dongi tribesman roared. However, a few more Dongi tribesmen were entangled by the blood-red vines. The vines pierced their skin and sucked their blood. "Those who are third-grade martial master and below, retreat. Those who are third-grade martial master and above, charge with us." A fifth-grade martial master elder roared. The Dongi tribesmen immediately split into two groups. Those with lower cultivation retreated from the stone pillar while those with higher cultivation charged in together. On the other hand, Lu Ming was running at high speed. He covered a distance of a few hundred miles in just half an hour. What a strange mountain peak! As he approached, Lu Ming saw the wolf-shaped mountain peak. This was the first time he had seen such a strange mountain peak. Intense battle cries came from ahead. When Lu Ming arrived, he saw two groups of people fighting. One group was the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, such as Chen Quan. There were also disciples from the other schools. It seemed that they were closer to this place and had arrived earlier than Lu Ming. The other group was of course the Dongi tribesmen. However, the Dongi tribesmen had no experts. They were all third-grade martial masters and below. They were no match for the Mystic Essence Sword sect disciples. However, there were no third-grade martial masters or above among the Dongi tribesmen. Let's retreat first. Chapter 163. Whoosh! Whoosh! Blood-colored vines shot out from the ground, entangling the corpses and sucking their blood. Are these vampiric vines? It seems that the Dongi experts have all rushed in. This must be an important place left behind by the Dongi ancestors. There must be treasures inside. Let's go in. Some of the Mystic Essence Sword sect disciples also rushed in. Of course, some of the weaker cultivators, such as martial masters of first and second realm, were afraid of the vampiric vines and did not rush in. Those who rushed out were all martial masters of third realm and above. There were more than a dozen of them. Lu Ming's eyes flashed and he rushed out as well. Whoosh whoosh, suddenly, blood-colored vines shot toward Lu Ming like streaks of blood-colored lightning. Lu Ming swept out his long spear, knocking the blood-colored vines away. Although these blood-colored vines were fatal to martial artists at the first or second level of the martial master realm, they posed no threat to him at all. Lu Ming barged past them quickly and ran toward the huge mouth of the wolf-shaped mountain peak. However, he stopped after a short while. In front of him, demonic beasts roared and evil chi filled the air. There were at least 50 demonic corpses and devil puppets fighting fiercely with the Dongi group. These Dongi experts were of third realm and above martial masters. They had broken through the blood snake vines but were unexpectedly surrounded by a large number of demonic corpses and devil puppets. Moreover, these demonic corpses and devil puppets were abnormally strong. Lu Ming even found demonic corpses and devil puppets that were equivalent to fourth realm martial masters. There were more than a dozen of them. On the ground, several Dongi experts had already been torn apart. It was a horrible sight. Whoosh! Whoosh! Behind them, Chen Quan and the others rushed through the blood snake vines. However, when they saw the demonic corpses and devil puppets, their faces turned green. How can we fight so many demonic corpses and devil puppets? Chen Quan said with an ugly expression. In front of them, the Dongi tribe had clearly seen Lu Ming and the others. You guys retreat first. The two of us will barge in. The Mystic Essence Sword sect's brats won't be able to barge in. A fifth-layer martial Grand Master of the Dongi tribe shouted. The other Eastern barbarians retreated from the encirclement of the demon corpses and devil puppets. What was strange was that when the Dongi tribesmen retreated to a certain distance, the demon corpse devil puppet did not chase after them. Instead, it pounced on the two fifth-level martial grandmasters with all its might, as if it wanted to stop them from rushing in. However, the two old men of the fifth level of the martial master realm teamed up and slowly made their way inside. What should we do? With so many powerful fiend corpses and devil puppets, there's no way we can break in. A youth from the Azure Dragon Institute roared. No matter what, let's give it a try. The remaining fourth-level martial master from the White Tiger Hall was unwilling to give up and charged forward. However, in the blink of an eye, 3 or 4 demon corpse devil puppets, which were equivalent to fourth-level martial grandmaster, pounced on him. He had to use all of his strength to break free and retreat. He was almost seriously injured, and his expression was extremely gloomy. There were too many demon corpse devil puppets, which were equivalent to fourth-level martial grandmaster. It was impossible to break through. Junior brother Lu Ming, do you want to give it a try? Chen Quan looked at Lu Ming. Of course. Lu Ming smiled faintly. All of a sudden, he dashed out into the midst of the demon corpses and devil puppets. Roar! Roar! Suddenly, 3 or 4 fourth-level martial grandmaster demon corpse devil puppets pounced on Lu Ming. Get lost! Lu Ming's eyes flashed as he swept out with his long spear. Boom! With a loud boom, 3 or 4 demon corpse devil puppets were sent flying. How can this be? Chen Quan, the other disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, and the Dongi tribesmen were all shocked. Sweeping away 3 or 4 fourth-level martial grandmaster demon corpse devil puppets with a single spear, this was too strong. This definitely required the strength of a fifth-level martial grandmaster. Could it be that Lu Ming already had the strength of a fifth-level martial grandmaster? Wasn't this too unbelievable? It had only been a few months since the 4 Academies tournament. Wasn't Lu Ming's progress too terrifying? Boom! Boom! With the long spear in his hand, Lu Ming was invincible. One by one, the demon corpse devil puppets were sent flying. Lu Ming quickly pushed forward. At this moment, the 2 fifth-level martial grandmaster elders of the Dongi tribe had already broken through the encirclement of the demon corpse devil puppets and appeared 100 meters ahead. It seemed that this was the forbidden area of the demon corpse devil puppets. Once there, not a single demon corpse devil puppet pursued them. They had originally planned to rush in directly. After all, the skinny black-robed man had disappeared. Perhaps he had already rushed into the cave residence of the Dongi tribe's ancestor. However, at this moment, they saw Lu Ming rushing toward them. Damn it, we can't let this person pass. The 2 of us will stop him here. A slightly bigger elder said with a gloomy face. All right. We will stop him here and then go in to kill that guy. The things left behind by the Dongi tribe's ancestor must not fall into the hands of outsiders. The slightly fatter elder nodded. His face was filled with murderous intent. The 2 of them stood side by side, staring coldly at Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his long spear and sent the demon corpse devil puppets flying. He quickly rushed forward. A few minutes later, he was close to the 2 elders of the Dongi tribe. At this moment, the demon corpse devil puppets roared and stopped chasing Lu Ming. They returned to their original positions and glared at Chen Quan and the others. Go to hell. At this moment, the 2 elders of the Dongi tribe rushed toward Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He did not take the attack head-on. Instead, he used the airborne steps and soared into the sky, avoiding the attacks of the 2 elders. Then, he took a few steps in the air as if he was walking on empty air. He moved a few dozen meters forward and directly leaped over the 2 elders. Huh, I'll go first. Lu Ming laughed loudly. He extended his body and dashed toward the wolf-shaped mountain peak. Stop right there. Damn it. The 2 elders of the Dongi tribe roared and chased after Lu Ming. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming actually rushed in. The other disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect were envious, especially the disciples of the White Tiger Hall. Lu Ming rushed forward, getting closer and closer to the black mouth of the wolf-shaped mountain peak. Lu Ming did not stop and rushed in directly. The two elders of the Dongyi tribe followed closely behind. I'll find a chance to break through them one by one. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with murderous intent. He had just broken through to the second realm of the Martial Master realm. He was confident that he could deal with a fifth realm Martial Master. However, he was not sure if he could deal with two of them at the same time. The dark cave was extremely deep and serene. Lu Ming ran forward for thousands of meters before he reached the end of the cave. In front of him, it suddenly opened up, and a huge stone chamber appeared. There were 6 stone pillars in the stone room. On top of each pillar, there was a secret manual suspended. There was a layer of light covering the secret manuals. At this moment, 2 of the secret manuals on the stone pillars had already disappeared. On the other stone pillar, a thin figure in a black robe was constantly bombarding the halo on a secret manual. At this moment, the thin figure in the black robe seemed to have noticed Lu Ming and glanced at him. Chapter 164. Who is he? Lu Ming was puzzled. The skinny black-robed man merely cast a nonchalant glance at Lu Ming and ignored him. He continued to bombard the halo that enveloped the secret manual. I don't care who he is. These secret manuals are protected by inscriptions. After so many years, the power of the inscriptions has not dissipated. They must be extraordinary. I'll get them first. Lu Ming's mind raced. With a flash of his figure, he flew toward another stone pillar. At the same time, he thrust his long spear at lightning speed. Boom! The long spear pierced the halo that enveloped the secret manual, and a rumbling sound was heard. The halo began to tremble like water ripples. However, it did not shatter. What a powerful inscription defense! After so many years, it still has such a strong defense. Lu Ming was amazed. It's a secret manual. It's a secret manual left behind by the ancestors of the Dongyi tribe. Damn it! How dare you touch our secret manuals? You're courting death. The 2 elders of the Dongyi tribe roared angrily when they saw what was happening. Then, the 2 Dongyi elders pounced on the skinny black-robed man. 2 snow-white blade lights cut through the air and slashed at the skinny black-robed man. You're really ungrateful. I told you to come here, and you attack me first. The skinny black-robed man abandoned the secret manual and dodged the attack. Humph! If you didn't trick us, how could that bastard from the Mystic Essence Sword sect enter? All the treasures here are ours. We'll kill him after we finish you. The skinny elder said coldly. Ridiculous. Do you really think you can kill me? The skinny black-robed man said in a hoarse voice. At the same time, his aura surged. A black sword appeared in his hand. He swung the sword and slashed at the 2 elders. Clang! Clang! The 3 of them exchanged a few blows. The skinny black-robed man was at a disadvantage and retreated quickly. At this moment, Lu Ming was crazily attacking a circle of light. After dozens of consecutive shots, the circle of light finally exploded with a bang like a ball of fireworks. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the secret manual in his hands. The book was very soft. It was neither gold nor jade. He didn't have time to look at it carefully. With a thought, he put it in the Temple of Paragon. Then, it pounced on another stone pillar. Whoosh! Whoosh! At that moment, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. The skinny black-robed man was running toward Lu Ming with the 2 Dongyi elders in hot pursuit. Nestle! Lu Ming couldn't help but curse. The skinny black-robed man was clearly trying to divert the trouble away. "Little brother, why don't we join forces and kill these two old men? We'll split the loot equally. What do you think?" The thin black-robed man shouted. Lu Ming's eyes flashed, then he said, "Sure, one for each of us." With that, Lu Ming rushed towards the old man. The two elders of the Dongyi tribe had to be dealt with sooner or later. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let him go. It would be better for him to join forces with the skinny black-robed man and deal with the two elders first. All right. The skinny black-robed man was overjoyed. He turned around and attacked the fat elder. "Damn it, do you think that joining forces will work?" The skinny elder roared. He slashed his saber and attacked Lu Ming crazily. Lu Ming's long spear vibrated. The spear radiance pierced through the air and clashed with the skinny elder. Boom! Boom! There were explosions in the stone chamber. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and the skinny elder had exchanged more than 20 blows. Lu Ming became stronger and stronger as the fight went on. He gradually suppressed his opponent. On the other side, the skinny black-robed man also displayed his powerful combat strength. He suppressed the fat elder to the point that he couldn't fight back. "Damn it, let's retreat." The two Dongyi elders roared in their hearts, but they already had the intention to retreat. "It's too late for you to leave now," the skinny black-robed man shouted coldly. He waved his hands, and rays of black light flashed through the air. The sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. The fat elder's expression changed drastically. He waved his saber rapidly, and a series of clanking sounds could be heard. However, he didn't know what the sound of something breaking through the air was. It was too dense and fast. He couldn't completely block it. Puff! Finally, something hit the fat elder's body and cut a long wound. Puff puff, the skinny black-robed man continued to wave his hands. The sound of something breaking through the air became even more intense. The fat elder roared again and again, but it was useless. Puff! Blood splattered everywhere. The fat elder's throat was pierced. He screamed and fell to the ground. The skinny elder was shocked. He didn't dare to continue fighting. He slashed his saber a few times, trying to force Lu Ming to retreat and then escape. "You underestimate me too much. I'll send you to accompany your companions." Lu Ming shouted coldly, and his long spear stabbed out rapidly. Explode! Boom! A terrifying energy erupted from the tip of the spear and blasted toward Elder Chu. Elder Chu's body shook violently. He coughed up blood and almost exploded. However, what greeted him was Lu Ming's long spear. Puff! The fiery red spear pierced through Old Man Kuei's chest, piercing through it. Elder Chu was dead. The two elders of the Dongyi tribe were both killed. Impressive. You're so young, but your strength is so terrifying. You're really admirable. The skinny black-robed man laughed hoarsely and slowly approached Lu Ming. Lu Ming withdrew his long spear. He controlled his bloodline and silently devoured Elder Chu's blood essence. Instantly, the blood essence of a fifth-grade martial master was refined. It turned into a torrent of energy and surged into Lu Ming's body to replenish his genuine qi. Lu Ming pretended to gasp for breath and said, "You're the one who's unfathomable. You actually led the Dongyi tribe to their ancestral remains. It seems that you were the one who instigated the Dongyi tribe to attack the Burning Sun Empire?" I had no choice. I had to borrow the Dongyi tribe's help to open their ancestral remains. Now, everything is settled. Only you and I are left. How about we split the treasures here? The skinny black-robed man laughed hoarsely. Of course. Lu Ming smiled. At this moment, the skinny black-robed man suddenly attacked. He pounced at Lu Ming like lightning. He waved his hands and the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. However, Lu Ming was very calm. It was as if he had expected the skinny black-robed man's sneak attack. The moment the skinny black-robed man attacked, Lu Ming drifted back and waved his long spear. The tip of the spear vibrated and turned into rays of spear radiance. Ding ding, there was a series of clashing sounds. The skinny black-robed man's attacks were all blocked by Lu Ming. You knew I was going to attack? The skinny black-robed man seemed surprised. One must always be vigilant. Lu Ming said coldly. You're young, but you're quite vigilant. Do you think you can stop me? Naive. In the next moment, the skinny black-robed man disappeared and suddenly appeared behind Lu Ming. He stabbed his sword at Lu Ming's back. Moon seizing. Lu Ming did not hesitate. He swept his long spear behind him. Clang! The spear and sword clashed. Lu Ming's body trembled. However, he stomped heavily and continued to attack the skinny black-robed man. If you want to kill me, I'll kill you first. Chapter 165. Lu Ming's long spear danced like a dragon as the power of fire erupted. Combined with the flaming star spear art, the power was terrifying. As the long spear danced, it was as if a volcano had erupted. Heat filled the air and enveloped the skinny black-robed man. Boom! The skinny black-robed man resisted with all his might, but he was still swept by the heat. The black bamboo hat suddenly exploded, revealing the face under the black robe. Lu Ming was taken aback. This was because it was actually a woman's face. She was about 15 or 16 years old. She looked even younger than Lu Ming. She had an oval face, willowy eyebrows, round and watery almond-shaped eyes, and snow-white skin. She was actually an unrivaled beauty. Lu Ming thought it was a skinny old man. He did not expect it to be a beautiful girl. Humph. I did not expect a genius like you to exist in the small Burning Sun Empire. You are only a second-grade martial master, yet you can break my bamboo hat. Since that is the case, I will not hide anymore. I will show you my true strength. The beautiful girl's voice was clear and melodious, like round pearls falling on a jade plate. However, at this moment, her voice was filled with cold killing intent. Whoosh! The beautiful girl tore the black robe on her body. The black robe was torn apart, like black butterflies dancing in the air, revealing the girl's delicate figure. The girl's clothing was very strange. Her black robe was very short, revealing her snow-white abdomen. She also wore a short black skirt, revealing her legs. Her legs were delicate and white, slender and well-proportioned. Together with the girl's beautiful face, they formed a beautiful picture. However, Lu Ming was not in the mood to appreciate it. The girl had already launched a fierce attack on him. Heavenly Demon Magic Skill, Demon Lotus Dance. The beautiful girl shouted. The black true chi on her body surged and condensed into black lotuses around her body. Then, the girl waved her hands and the black lotuses spread out. Black petals pierced through the air, making ear-piercing whistling sounds as they flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming finally knew what method the girl had used to kill the old man from the Dongi tribe. It was these petals. However, the speed of the petals was obviously faster than before. There were also more petals. Fire dance. The long spear swayed, and flames appeared all around Lu Ming's body. Ding! Ding! Rapid sounds of collisions could be heard. Within a few breaths, there were over 100 collisions. What a powerful force! Lu Ming felt that every time they clashed, the power coming from the black petal was extremely shocking. After clashing with it over 100 times, even with Lu Ming's cultivation base, he still felt his arm go numb. Great demonic palm! The beautiful girl shouted. Her beautiful legs bounced slightly, and her body soared into the sky. She continuously struck out a few palms at Lu Ming. 3 black palm prints lined up in a row. One after the other, they tore through the air and attacked Lu Ming. Broken armor. Lu Ming thrust out his long spear. The spear tip rotated, bringing about a powerful rotational cutting force. Bang! The first palm print was defeated by Lu Ming, but Lu Ming's body swayed and he couldn't help but take 2 steps back. However, the second palm print had already arrived. Broken armor. Continuing to use this move, he defeated the second palm print. However, Lu Ming's body took 8 steps back, and his face turned pale. Immediately, the third palm print arrived. Landslide. Break for me. Lu Ming roared and swept out with his long spear. The shaft of the spear vibrated, and it collided with the third palm print. Boom! Lu Ming felt as if he was struck by lightning. His body trembled, and he was forced to take more than 10 steps back. The blood in his body surged, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Too powerful, where did this genius come from? At this moment, Lu Ming's heart was filled with shock. Previously, the aura of the girl was hazy. It seemed very strong, but no one could clearly see her cultivation base. However, when the girl used the great demonic palm, her cultivation base was finally exposed. Second layer martial master. This beautiful girl's cultivation base was actually the same as Lu Ming's, second layer martial master. However, her battle strength was terrifyingly strong, and she was able to suppress Lu Ming. Currently, Lu Ming's true dragon of battle technique had reached the 3rd layer, and he had also comprehended the force of fire. With such a strong battle strength, he was actually suppressed in a battle of the same level? Force. This girl has also comprehended force, and her force realm is definitely higher than mine. Furthermore, she is very strong in other aspects. Is there such a genius in the Blazing Sun Empire? No, from her tone, she shouldn't be from the Blazing Sun Empire. Lu Ming's mind quickly turned. Kid, not bad. I didn't think that there would be a second layer martial master in the Blazing Sun Empire. Being able to block my great demonic palm, even I am somewhat appreciative of your talent. How about this, if you leave now, I'll spare your life. The beautiful girl looked at Lu Ming in surprise and said. The outcome hasn't been decided yet? I don't have the habit of admitting defeat so easily. Lu Ming grinned and his eyes were filled with battle intent. Humph. I just praised you and you think you're in the sky. Then I'll show you the difference between the two of us. The girl snorted and moved her body, charging towards Lu Ming. So fast, this is the force of wind. Lu Ming's pupils constricted and he suddenly swept out his long spear. Boom! The two of them exchanged a blow and then engaged in a fierce battle. It had to be said that the beautiful girl's battle strength was very terrifying. Lu Ming had already used all his strength except for his bloodline, but he was still completely suppressed by the girl. After 7 to 8 blows, Lu Ming was completely defeated and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. I'll send you on your way. The girl's voice was very cold as she continuously attacked with a few great demonic palm. Now's the time. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up and a bloody light flashed on his body as his bloodline burst out. Afterward, Lu Ming ignored the young lady's heavenly fiend great handprint and dashed toward her. Boom! 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 3 consecutive black palm prints blasted on Lu Ming's body, but Lu Ming's body only trembled. He gritted his teeth and rushed towards the girl. The girl was stunned. She never thought that Lu Ming could actually resist her great demonic palm. By the time she reacted, Lu Ming was already in front of her. Whoosh! The long spear stabbed out as fast as lightning, but the girl's reaction was also very fast. She waved her palm and slapped Lu Ming's long spear aside. But Lu Ming's momentum did not stop and continued to crash towards the girl. At the same time, his palm glowed and the long spear disappeared. Lu Ming grabbed at the girl's throat. This time, the girl could no longer dodge and was pounced on by Lu Ming. At the same time, her throat was also grabbed by Lu Ming's fingers. But Lu Ming's fingers did not reach down, because a dagger had appeared in the girl's hand out of nowhere and was pressed against Lu Ming's back. As long as Lu Ming's claws exerted force, the girl's dagger would instantly pierce through Lu Ming's heart. But on the other hand, the girl did not dare to stab the dagger down. Because if she exerted force, Lu Ming's claws would instantly break her throat. The two of them were in a deadlock just like that. It was just that the two of them were in an ambiguous position. Lu Ming held the girl's neck with one hand and her slender waist with the other. Chapter 166. Their faces were only a few centimeters apart. Their eyes met, and they could smell each other's breath. The girl's fragrance wafted into Lu Ming's nose. Lu Ming couldn't help but sniff and take a few deep breaths. The girl's face turned red. Her big eyes were burning with anger and cold killing intent. She said coldly, "If you don't want to die, let go." How could Lu Ming agree? He curled his lips and said, "Unless you put away the dagger first, don't think I'll let go." Put away the dagger first? Don't even think about it. The girl shouted angrily. Oh. Then forget it. Anyway, it's good like this. With a beauty in my arms and a soft jade fragrance, not bad, not bad. It's good to stay like this. Lu Ming chuckled. His face moved closer to the girl. He even took a deep breath and showed an intoxicated expression. The girl was ashamed and angry. She said, "You're shameless. You dare to scold me? Believe it or not, I'll kiss you." Lu Ming curled his lips. Then, his face suddenly moved closer to the girl's face. "No, wait a minute, wait a minute." The girl finally couldn't stand it and screamed. Lu Ming stopped. "How about this, we'll both let go. I'll put away the dagger, and he'll let go of your claws. How about it?" The girl said helplessly. She gritted her teeth in her heart. Lu Ming was really hateful. Okay. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. After all, it wasn't a good idea to continue like this. "I'll count to 3, 2, 1, and we'll both let go." Seeing Lu Ming nod, the girl was overjoyed. 3, 2, 1. When the girl shouted 1, the dagger in her hand disappeared, and Lu Ming also let go of the girl's throat. At this moment, the girl's eyes flashed coldly. All the muscles on her body trembled. Her petite body exploded with power. At the same time, she grabbed at Lu Ming's neck with both hands. "I knew you would do this." Lu Ming lightly shouted. His muscles bulged, and at the same time, his Zhenqi also completely erupted. Both of his hands went down to grab the girl's palm. At the same time, Lu Ming's legs clamped down on the girl's slender waist. Instantly, the two of them fell to the ground and wrestled with each other. This was a pure hand-to-hand fight. It was a competition of physical strength and the eruption of true qi. Lu Ming discovered that the girl's physical strength was extremely powerful, far surpassing his. Moreover, the girl's cultivation method was also extraordinary. Her Zhenqi was condensed and rich, far surpassing that of ordinary martial artists. However, compared to Lu Ming's Zhenqi, there was still a gap. Therefore, Lu Ming and the girl were on par with each other in terms of physical strength and Zhenqi. It was hard to tell who was better. Therefore, it became a stalker. "Ah, why did you pinch me?" Lu Ming angrily shouted. His waist was ruthlessly pinched by Supergirl, causing him to suck in a breath of cold air. "Die." The girl's face was slightly red. She gritted her teeth and looked like she wanted to kill Lu Ming. "Ah, you're still pinching me? I'll grab you." In a panic, Lu Ming grabbed the girl's chest. Suddenly, a soft and bouncy feeling came from the palm of his hand, causing Lu Ming's heart to flutter. At this moment, the two of them were tangled together. The girl was not wearing much clothes, and with Lu Ming grabbing her place, it was as ambiguous as it could be. The feeling is not bad. Lu Ming could not help but think. Ah! Die! The girl let out a scream that almost deafened Lu Ming's ears. She bit Lu Ming's shoulder and clawed at Lu Ming's body with her hands. Lu Ming angrily shouted. He used all his strength and did not give in. The two of them continued to wrestle, rolling on the ground several times. "Hey, where are you grabbing?" Lu Ming suddenly roared. He felt that his vital part was grabbed by the girl, causing him to lose his calm. "Pervert, sinister, you actually hid a weapon in your crotch. Are you trying to sneak attack me?" The girl shouted. Lu Ming was stunned. He had a dumbstruck expression on his face. At this moment, the girl seemed to have reacted. She screamed and hurriedly let go. Her face was red, even her ears and neck were red. She shouted, "Pervert! Shameless, pervert! You're the one who grabbed me!" Lu Ming retorted. "You, let go of me!" The girl shouted. "No, if I let go, I won't be able to defeat you. This is good, anyway, I'm not at a disadvantage. If you like, continue." Lu Ming was very thick-skinned. "You, shameless! I won't do it, I surrender. I admit defeat." The girl finally retreated. "I don't believe you." Lu Ming refused to let go. "Let go, I swear, okay?" The girl was completely defeated. She shouted, "Let go, I swear I won't do anything to you. The secret manuals here, we'll each take half. If I go against it, I won't be able to make any progress in martial arts in the future. In the end, I'll go mad and die." Lu Ming's heart stirred. For a martial artist, this oath was heavy enough. Moreover, martial artists valued oaths very much. This was because if they did not abide by the oath, it was very likely that it would leave a knot in their hearts. It would be very detrimental to their future cultivation. That's more like it. Only then did Lu Ming let go of his hand. The young lady also let go of Lu Ming. Lu Ming crawled a few meters away and lay on the ground, gasping for breath. The hand-to-hand fight just now was more tiring than a fierce battle. The girl was the same. She was sweating profusely and gasping for breath. However, her pair of beautiful eyes stared fiercely at Lu Ming, as if she wanted to bite Lu Ming. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He shouted, "Hey, you swore, don't forget it." The girl's combat strength was indeed above his. Moreover, his bloodline had already activated. If they fought again, he wouldn't be able to create the situation just now. Humph! The girl's eyes flashed. In the end, she gritted her teeth and let out a cold snort. She didn't continue to fight. The two just stared at each other like this while circulating their cultivation methods to recover their true qi. 2 hours later, the two recovered their physical strength and true qi at the same time. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two figures flashed at the same time, rushed toward a stone pillar and began to bombard the light circle on the stone pillar. Demonic Great Palm. The girl seemed to have released all her anger on the light circle, erupting a powerful attack. The light circle in her hand exploded in a short while. The girl put away the secret manual in the light circle and attacked the next one. So fast. Lu Ming's heart ached. There were a total of 6 stone pillars here. Previously, the girl had already destroyed 2 of the light circles on the stone pillars, and Lu Ming had also obtained a secret manual. There were only 3 left. Now, there was one less. Lu Ming could only obtain 2 at most. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming attacked wildly with his long spear. After dozens of spears, the light circle shattered. Lu Ming kept the secret manual inside the Temple of Paragon. He looked at the girl and saw that she had shattered another light circle and obtained the secret manual inside. Chapter 167. Humph. At this moment, the girl seemed to be in a better mood. She looked at Lu Ming proudly and snorted. Then, the girl rolled her eyes and suddenly said, "Boy, your combat strength is not bad. Why don't we work together and break into the core area of this cave dwelling? What do you think?" "The core area? Isn't this the core area?" Lu Ming said in surprise. "Nonsense, of course not. This is the cave dwelling left behind by a martial king realm expert, the ancestor of the Dongyi tribe. How can it be filled with just a few secret manuals?" The girl laughed disdainfully. "He's actually a peerless martial king expert." Lu Ming gasped in his heart. At the same time, his eyes were burning with passion. A martial king realm expert was also known as a king realm expert. They were unbelievably powerful. Even the Burning Sun Empire might not have a martial king realm expert. A king realm expert had the power to destroy heaven and earth and overturn rivers and seas. They were unimaginably powerful. This was the cave dwelling of a martial king realm expert. What kind of treasures would there be? What do you think? Let's work together," the girl said with a smile. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He was a little confused. This girl must be itching to bite him. Why would she be so kind as to invite him to work together? Who cares? I'll agree first. This is the King Realm relic. Lu Ming made up his mind and said, "Okay, I agree to work with you." "Okay, let's go." The girl smiled. Her beauty could topple a city. Lu Ming could not help but stare blankly. He thought to himself, this young lady is really good looking. She is in no way inferior to Mulan and Xiao Yu. She might even be better. It's a pity that she is too evil. The girl touched one of the walls of the stone room. Soon, the wall of the stone room made a creaking sound and a stone door appeared. Lu Ming was very surprised. He could not help but ask, "Who exactly are you? Why are you so familiar with this place?" "Of course I know everything. Otherwise, why would I come to this place so easily? As for who I am, why should I tell you?" The young girl rolled her eyes at Lu Ming, snorted coldly, and walked through the stone door first. Lu Ming followed him in. After the stone door, there was a passageway that twisted and turned. After exiting the passageway, there was another stone room. However, there was nothing left in this stone room. Lu Ming followed the young lady and passed through 3 stone rooms. Finally, they ran into trouble. In the 4th stone room, they encountered a demonic corpse devil puppet. There were a total of 6 of them, but these 6 demonic corpse puppets were incomparably powerful. Each of them had the battle strength of a 5th-level martial master. With the 6 of them working together, the 2 of them fell into a tough battle. However, the eyes of the demonic corpses and devil puppets were their weak points. The 2 of them took advantage of them and attacked them one by one. It took them more than 10 minutes to kill all 6 demonic corpse puppets. Then, Lu Ming looked at a stone door at the side of the stone room. This stone door was taller and wider than the previous ones. It was more than 2 meters long and wide. After opening the stone door, a dark passageway was revealed. If I remember correctly, we will reach the core area after passing through this passageway. However, this passageway must have inscriptions, the young girl said. Lu Ming nodded. Immediately, the 2 of them walked in. The deeper they went, the wider the cave became. At the end, it became a huge passageway that was 7 to 8 meters tall and more than 10 meters wide. Surprisingly, there was no movement at all in the first 1,000 meters. However, after walking for about 1,000 meters, inscriptions suddenly shone around the cave and on the ground. Endless inscriptions shone. Then, a scorching aura was emitted. In the next moment, the entire passageway turned red, as if they were in a fire domain. Whoosh whoosh, a large amount of red flames appeared and filled the passageway. These were real flames and not illusory. They were condensed by inscriptions. Whoosh! Suddenly, a tall figure walked out of the flames. Its body was condensed by flames. It held a huge flaming sword in its hand and slashed at Lu Ming. Flame spirit condensed by inscriptions. Lu Ming was shocked. He did not dare to underestimate it. The fiery tongue spear appeared and stabbed out. Boom! The powerful spear gleam directly pierced through the flame spirit. However, after the flame spirit dissipated, it condensed again in an instant and charged toward Lu Ming. At the same time, several other flame spirits were condensed. They were holding flame sabers, flame spears, and so on. They all charged at Lu Ming. On the other side, the beautiful young girl was in the same situation. She was besieged by flame spirits. Boom! Boom! Rumbling sounds rang out continuously as the two of them engaged in a fierce battle with these flame spirits. However, these flame spirits were very powerful and could not be destroyed. After being scattered, they would condense again. They were very difficult to deal with. Let's join forces and keep moving forward. As long as we pass through here, we will reach the core area. The young girl shouted. Lu Ming nodded and leaned against the young girl. The two of them attacked together and rushed forward. However, there were more and more flame spirits in front of them. Moreover, the temperature of the flames was getting higher and higher. The two of them felt like they were in a furnace. Flames are my battlefield. Lu Ming whispered. The force of fire erupted and formed a strange domain around him. When he walked past, the flames automatically retreated. Whoosh! The astral fire spear was waved. The flames were driven and followed the spear, forming a fire dragon that blasted at the flame spirits. Bang! Bang! One by one, the flame spirits were blasted away. The flames here are really strange. They are completely different from the flames of volcanoes. The flames of volcanoes are about eruption and destroying everything. However, the flames here have spirituality and can form flame spirits. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He seemed to have understood something. His eyes were bright. As he fought, he sensed the surroundings. Flames are not only about eruption and destruction. They also have spirituality and vitality. Flames are the origin of human civilization. Lu Ming's mind was constantly thinking. Unknowingly, the force of fire on his body became more condensed. My force of fire is about to reach minor accomplishment. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He didn't expect that a moment of enlightenment would make his force of fire improve so much. Originally, his force of fire was just at the entry level. Now, he finally took a big step forward and was close to minor accomplishment. The improvement of the force of fire made Lu Ming's attack stronger. With a sweep of his spear, a large number of flame spirits were swept away. On the side, the beautiful girl was secretly shocked. Lu Ming's comprehension surprised her. It was just an inscription formation. Lu Ming had comprehended it in such a short time. Boom! Boom! The two of them joined forces and moved forward. However, there were too many flame spirits. The two of them fought with great difficulty. Half an hour. The two of them continuously charged forward for half an hour and rushed through a distance of thousands of meters. With their combat strength, there were still many scars on their bodies. It could be said to be a tough battle. "We're almost there." The beautiful girl suddenly cried out in surprise. Lu Ming's spirit was also lifted. Chapter 168. They could vaguely see what was going on in the cave. "Go!" The two of them exerted all their strength and blasted away some of the fire spirits in front of them. Whoosh! Whoosh! After a few sprints, they crossed the last few dozen meters and rushed into the cave. After the two of them rushed into the cave, the spirit of the flame and the spreading flames behind them slowly disappeared. Phew! The two of them let out a long sigh of relief, then began to observe their surroundings. It was a huge underground cave. It was more than 100 meters high and more than 100 meters wide. After a casual glance, the two of them stared at the center of the underground cave. There was a human skeleton sitting cross-legged on the ground. The bones were crystal clear like jade. Behind the skeleton, there was an altar made of stone. There were patterns carved on it and it was full of ancient charm. However, Lu Ming and the beautiful young lady merely took a casual glance and skipped over it. Their eyes were fixed on the two arms of the skeleton in a daze. The right hand of the skeleton was holding a green jade sword. The jade sword was very small, not much bigger than a finger. On the left hand of the skeleton, there was a ring. A storage ring. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that it was a storage ring. The skeleton was definitely a powerhouse when he was alive. The value of his storage ring must be very high. Lu Ming's eyes were burning. Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, Lu Ming and the beautiful girl moved at the same time. The two of them turned into two light shadows and rushed toward the skeleton. In an instant, the two of them rushed to the front of the skeleton. Lu Ming grabbed the storage ring on the finger of the skeleton, while the beautiful girl grabbed the jade sword in the right hand of the skeleton. He gathered his true chi and formed a claw. With a swipe, he plucked the storage ring from the skeleton's hand. Got it! Lu Ming was ecstatic. At this time, the beautiful girl also grabbed the jade sword in her hand. The joy on her face was uncontrollable. Then, the beautiful girl moved her hand and put away the jade sword. She looked at Lu Ming and said, "Hey, kid, hand over the storage ring. We'll each take half of the things inside." "Half each? What kind of joke is this? You take that jade sword, and I take the storage ring. It just so happens that we each have one. On what basis do you want to share my storage ring?" Lu Ming sneered. Naturally, he would not give it up. "Your appetite is too big. This is a storage ring left behind by a king. Its value is shocking. I only took a jade sword. It's not fair. I don't care. I want to split the items in the storage ring equally." The peerless beauty glared at him and said rudely. Lu Ming was speechless. He rolled his eyes and said, "How about this? How about we trade? I'll use my storage ring to exchange for your jade sword so that you won't say that I'm taking advantage of you." "Why should I switch with you? I'm not exchanging." The beautiful girl didn't even think about it and directly refused. Lu Ming was so angry that he laughed. He could see that the value of the jade sword was above that of the storage ring. This girl had gotten a bargain, but she was still thinking about the storage ring. "Then we'll take one each." Lu Ming was too lazy to pay attention to her and directly put away the storage ring. What was there to say to this unreasonable girl? "Humph, if you don't give it to me, then I'll take it myself." The beautiful girl rolled her eyes and suddenly rushed towards Lu Ming. "Hey, you swore before that you wouldn't fight with me. You're breaking your oath now." Lu Ming quickly retreated with the long spear in his hand and shouted. "Humph, I said before that I wouldn't fight when I took those secret manuals. I didn't say that I wouldn't fight here." The girl snorted and quibbled. Boom! The girl waved her hand and used the great demonic palm print. 3 pitch-black giant palm prints attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his long spear to block. Although Lu Ming's fire power had increased a little, he was still not the girl's opponent. He was pushed back by the powerful palm power. To that flame array. Lu Ming's figure flashed and rushed towards the previous passage. When Lu Ming rushed into the passage, the surroundings shone with bright inscriptions. Then flames and fire spirits appeared and rushed towards Lu Ming. When the beautiful girl rushed in, there were also many fire spirits rushing towards her. Get lost! The girl shouted and slapped a few times in a row. She defeated 5 or 6 fire spirits and rushed towards Lu Ming. Don't think that I'm afraid of you. Lu Ming was really angry. He roared and waved his long spear. The surrounding flames were driven by him. Following the momentum of the spear, they condensed into a flame dragon and rushed towards the girl. Boom! The flame dragon and the girl's great demonic palm print collided. The black true chi and the fiery red flames exploded and swept in all directions. Several flame spirits that were close to them were directly blown away. Lu Ming and the girl's figures flashed at the same time. They were evenly matched. In this flame array, Lu Ming's battle power was stronger, and the girl was suppressed, so Lu Ming could compete with her. Let's see how you take my storage ring. Now, I'm going to spank your butt. Lu Ming shouted and waved his long spear, wildly whipping towards the girl, especially towards her butt. You, shameless! The girl's face turned red. Her pair of beautiful palms continuously slapped out vigorous palm power. Boom! Boom! There were continuous booming sounds. Lu Ming and the young lady exchanged dozens of moves. However, Lu Ming became more and more courageous, while the girl's true chi was slowly running out. She had already consumed a lot of true chi when passing through this passage. Now that she was fighting with Lu Ming, her true chi consumption was naturally greater. Lu Ming benefited from the environment. In this flame array, his true chi consumption was not great. Bang! After exchanging another blow with Lu Ming, the girl retreated and left the passage. Humph, you win. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm exhausted. The young girl retreated a distance and sat on the ground. She was sweating profusely and gasping for breath. Lu Ming walked forward carefully and finally left the range of the array in the passage. As soon as Lu Ming left, the flames in the passage disappeared. Lu Ming did not go too far from the passage. He sat down cross-legged at the entrance of the passage. This way, if the girl attacked, he could escape into the passage immediately. Okay, I'm not going to fight with you. This time, you're lucky to have obtained such a great opportunity. The girl seemed to be very unwilling and gritted her teeth. Your harvest should be greater than mine, right? We're in the same boat. Lu Ming said with a smile. I spent a lot of effort to come in. You got a big advantage. Humph, so be it. I see that you're tired. Let's rest together. Don't sneak attack me. The girl said unhappily. I'm afraid that you'll sneak attack me. Lu Ming curled his lips. Then, the two of them circulated their true chi and adjusted their true chi. Of course, they paid attention to each other, afraid that the other party would suddenly attack. 3 hours later, the two of them stood up at the same time. You got a big advantage before, but let's see how you get it later. Chapter 169. Lu Ming was a little surprised. He didn't know why the girl was walking towards the altar. The girl walked to the side of the altar and circled around it, carefully sizing it up. Sometimes she carefully observed it, sometimes she frowned and pondered. After a while, she smiled. After half an hour, the girl started to inscribe inscriptions. The young lady's slender fingers began to move in the air. Zhenqi infused into the young lady's fingertips, and as she waved them in the air, a miraculous pattern appeared. This was an inscription. The girl was inscribing inscriptions. Inscribing inscriptions in the air, what a brilliant technique. Lu Ming sighed. Although he didn't know much about inscription, he still had some basic knowledge. Generally speaking, inscribing inscriptions in the air wasn't something a martial Grand Master could do. Inscriptions appeared in the air and flew towards the altar. The ancient patterns on the stone altar seemed to have come alive as they emitted a faint halo. Open. A moment later, the girl let out a soft cry and waved her hands. Inscriptions entered the altar one after another. Then, the altar buzzed and emitted rays of light that were incomparably bright. Roar. Suddenly, a beast roar came from the altar. A fierce tiger rushed out from the altar and leaped into the air. The tiger was 3 meters tall and 6 meters long. It stood in the air and roared majestically. A powerful aura filled the air. Beast soul, what a complete beast soul. Lu Ming was taken aback at the sight of this. This tiger wasn't real, but it looked like it. This was definitely a beast soul left behind by a powerful demonic beast. Moreover, it was very complete. Heavenly Demon Soul Concentration Technique, come in. The girl shouted and her body emitted a black light. Her hands formed a mysterious seal. Then, a black light enveloped the tiger beast soul. The tiger beast soul roared again and again. In the cave, a strong pressure filled the air. It was like a mountain was pressing down on Lu Ming's heart. What a powerful beast soul. This beast soul was extremely powerful when it was alive. It was definitely a level 4 demonic beast. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary one. Lu Ming was shocked. The tiger beast spirit roared, but it was useless. Not long after, it turned into a ray of light and was put away by the girl. Roar. When the tiger beast soul was put away, another roar came from the altar. Then, a giant black wolf appeared in the air. Just like the tiger beast soul, this giant wolf was also a beast soul. Judging from its aura, it was no weaker than the tiger beast soul from before. Hiss, as soon as the wolf beast soul appeared, another roar was heard. A giant snake more than 30 meters long appeared in the air. Another beast soul. There were actually so many powerful beast souls sealed within this stone altar. Ha ha ha, the real treasures are here. These are all half-step king-level beast souls. They were refined by the ancestors of the Eastern barbarian tribe using a secret technique. They are incomparably complete. If you fuse them with your body, you will be able to explode with incomparable power. Unfortunately, you can't take them, only I can. The young girl glanced at Lu Ming and laughed heartily. She was extremely pleased with herself. Then, the girl formed another hand seal and began to collect the beast souls. Not long after, the giant snake beast soul was put away by the girl. At this moment, a bird beast soul with flames all over its body appeared. It screeched and danced in the air. However, there seemed to be a force on the altar that restrained them, making it difficult for them to escape. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. He felt that the demon-suppressing spear in the Temple of Paragon was vibrating with excitement. Could it be? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. With a thought, the demon-suppressing spear appeared in his hand. The moment the demon-suppressing spear appeared, it vibrated violently. With a swoosh, it flew out. The spear emitted a dazzling light that enveloped the two beast souls. Roar. Ga. With two roars, the two beast souls turned into two rays of light and were absorbed by the demon-suppressing spear. Then, the demon-suppressing spear flew back to Lu Ming's hand. Not far away, the beautiful girl was dumbfounded. She opened her cherry-like mouth and widened her big, watery eyes. She stared at the altar and then at Lu Ming. To be precise, she was staring at the demon-suppressing spear in Lu Ming's hands. After a while, she let out an earth-shattering scream. The demon-suppressing spear. How did you get the demon-suppressing spear? The girl shouted in disbelief. Wang. At this moment, the altar vibrated violently. It was 10 times more intense than before. Dong dong, a rumble could be heard coming from the altar, as if some peerless beast was about to step out from it. Boom! Following a violent tremor, a giant silver wolf charged out of the altar. The giant wolf's entire body was covered in silvery white fur. It shone with a sparkling luster as it stood in the air. It was 5 meters tall and over 10 meters long. Roar! When the giant silver wolf appeared, it howled at the sky. An unimaginably powerful pressure burst out. Poof! Lu Ming's face changed. He felt as if he had been hit by a giant mountain. He took a few steps back and spat out a mouthful of blood. The girl was not much better. She also took a few steps back, her face pale. Terrifying, too terrifying. What level is this beast spirit? It's just a beast spirit, yet it's emitting such a terrifying pressure. How strong was it when it was alive? Lu Ming looked at the silver wolf beast soul in the air and was shocked. Beast King. This is the soul of a beast king. Ha! The girl laughed and formed a hand seal. Rays of black light shrouded the silver wolf. Wang! At this moment, the demon-suppressing spear vibrated violently and shot a ray of light at the silver wolf. Roar! The silver wolf howled at the sky. However, it was just a beast soul. It did not have a physical body. Its aura was strong, but it did not have much battle strength. Kid, what are you doing? Put away your demon-suppressing spear. The girl screamed. Put it away? Why should I? Didn't you say that I can't take it away? Lu Ming mocked. You, damn it. The girl was helpless. She could only form hand seals frantically and fight with the demon-suppressing spear for the beast soul. 2 rays of light shrouded the silver wolf soul and tore it apart. Whoosh! In the end, the silver wolf soul was divided into 2. One was taken by the girl and the other by the demon-suppressing spear. Whoosh! The demon-suppressing spear flew back to Lu Ming's hand. You stole half of my beast king soul. Give it back to me. The young lady glared at Lu Ming fiercely. No. Lu Ming refused and put away the demon-suppressing spear. Beast King Soul. This is a Beast King Soul. With your current cultivation and physical strength, you can't use it at all. Just give it back to me. The girl stared at Lu Ming bitterly. Her big eyes were misty, as if she was about to cry. She looked pitiful. No. Lu Ming was unmoved and refused firmly. Chapter 170. Bam! Right at this moment, the stone altar suddenly exploded, turning into rubble that shot in all directions. The instant the altar exploded, the entire world began to shake violently. Outside the cave, the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect and the Dongi tribe faced each other, waiting for the people inside the cave to come out. Suddenly, the world shook and the earth rumbled. Rumble. In some places, huge cracks appeared on the ground. What's going on? I don't know. Something's wrong. The disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect and the Dongi tribe exclaimed. Whoosh whoosh, wind and clouds gathered in the sky. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. It was a doomsday scene. Crack crack, bolts of lightning thicker than a person's thigh lit up the sky. Then, everyone saw a shocking scene. The space cracked open. It was so dark that it seemed to lead to the abyss of hell. Oh no, this realm is going to collapse. Let's go, let's get out of this realm. Otherwise, we're all going to die. Let's go. Everyone let out a roar of shock as they hurriedly rushed towards the light gate from which they had come. Junior brother Lu Ming has gone in and hasn't come out. What should we do? Chen Quan shouted. If he doesn't come out in time, he's dead. Who cares about him? Let's go, let's go. The leader of the White Tiger sect yelled. Everyone used all their strength and ran as fast as they could, wishing they could grow 2 more legs. While everyone was running, the tremors between heaven and earth became even more intense. The ground cracked and space collapsed. In the cave, Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. What's going on? Lu Ming asked. This altar is the core of this realm. Now that the altar has collapsed, this small realm is going to collapse too. The girl said calmly. What? Then let's go. Lu Ming's expression changed and he was about to rush out. It's too late to leave now. This cave was built by a martial emperor realm expert, and is covered with a large number of profound inscriptions. When the plane collapses, the inscription formation will automatically activate to protect it. No one from the outside can enter, and no one from the inside can leave. The girl said. We can't leave. Then won't we be trapped here until we die? Lu Ming's expression was somewhat ugly. The girl smiled and squinted her eyes. Yes, I will be trapped here for the rest of my life. Humph, now that I can't get out, it's useless for you to take the beast soul. Give it back to me quickly. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he fell into deep thought. After a while, Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint smile. From the looks of it, the young girl knew that the plane would collapse. Since she knew, she still dared to collect the beast souls from the altar. Furthermore, she was so calm. She must have a way to get out. At the thought of this, Lu Ming felt relieved. He revealed a smile and gave a long sigh. Sigh. There's nothing I can do about it. If I'm really trapped here, then it's my fate. I can only accept it. As he spoke, Lu Ming's gaze swept over the girl's body. He sighed in admiration. Moreover, it's not bad to have such a beauty to accompany us. If we feel bored, we can have a bunch of children to accompany us. What do you think? Give birth to children? A bunch of them? The veins on the girl's forehead were already throbbing. You, despicable, shameless, in your dreams. Let me tell you, this plane won't collapse completely. Moreover, there's a teleportation formation under this altar. After 3 months, when the plane stabilizes, we can be teleported out. You want to have children with me? Bah, in your dreams. The girl pointed at Lu Ming with a trembling finger and shrieked. Oh. So we can get out? Lu Ming touched his nose and smiled. Humph. The girl realized that she had been tricked by Lu Ming. She immediately snorted and glared at Lu Ming. Alas. What a pity, what a pity. Actually, if we really can't get out, it's not a bad idea. Lu Ming sighed. Not a bad idea, my ass. The girl gnashed her teeth. If not for the fact that Lu Ming could make use of the flame array in the passageway to increase his combat power, she would have taken Lu Ming down and taught him the consequences of offending her. However, she was not confident now. She could only remind herself that she would have the chance to teach Lu Ming a lesson in the future. Rumble. Heaven and earth shook continuously, and it seemed to be getting more and more violent. Outside the cave, the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect and the Dongi tribe were running for their lives. An hour later, they finally returned to the light door that they had entered through. Without the slightest hesitation, everyone rushed into the light door. When they reappeared, they were already back on Mount Jiuyao. Back on Mount Jiuyao, they let out a long sigh of relief. "We're finally safe." A burly Dongi tribe man laughed. "The two patriarchs haven't come out yet," another person said. Instantly, the Dongi tribe people fell silent and waited quietly. The disciples of the mystic essence sword sect did not leave either. They stood not far away, waiting to know the result. Half an hour later, with a loud bang, the door of light exploded. "Patriarchs!" Someone from the Dongi tribe cried out sorrowfully. The door of light exploded and the plane collapsed. Under such circumstances, only martial kings could survive. Even a martial ancestor would die, not to mention a great martial mentor. Those who did not come out were doomed. The Dongi tribe people's atmosphere was solemn. Junior brother Lu Ming. Chen Quan sighed. The other disciples of the mystic essence sword sect also sighed. Lu Ming, a prodigy who had created miracles time and time again since he entered the mystic essence sword sect, had perished in this plane just like that. What a pity. However, the path of martial arts was like that. No matter how talented one was, they could die if they did not mature. On the continent, countless prodigies died every year. Lu Ming is dead. The disciples of the White Tiger Hall laughed in their hearts, especially the people of the Duanmu family. "Let's go." In the end, the disciples of the mystic essence sword sect and the Dongi tribe did not continue fighting. Instead, they rushed toward Dongke City. The news of Lu Ming's death spread like wildfire. In the underground cave of the Dongi tribe's ruins, Lu Ming and the girl waited quietly for 1.5 hours. The tremors outside finally subsided. "Hey, how about this? You name a price, and I'll buy those beast souls. What do you think?" The girl looked at Lu Ming, still thinking about those beast souls. "I'm not selling." Lu Ming refused without hesitation. Those beast souls had been refined with a secret technique. At the critical moment, they could be merged with one's body to unleash a powerful force. These were life-saving treasures. How could Lu Ming bear to sell them? Let me tell you, although these beast souls can increase your combat strength temporarily, you can't use them with your current cultivation and physical body. If you merge with them, you'll definitely explode and die. The girl said. "You don't have to worry about that." Lu Ming was stubborn. The girl gritted her teeth. In the end, she snorted and turned to leave. "Hey, we're going to be together for a long time. I can't keep calling you hey. I'm Lu Ming." "What's your name?" Lu Ming said. The girl stopped and turned around. "Remember, I'm Xie Nianqing. This name will be your nightmare in the future." Chapter 171. Lu Ming smiled and walked to the other side of the cave. The underground cave was huge and there were 5 or 6 entrances on the walls. There might be some treasures in these entrances that were worth exploring. The entrances were not big. After walking in, he found that it was a small cave. It should have been dug by someone. There was a stone bed, a stone table, and a few stone stools inside. There was nothing else. Lu Ming looked around and was a little disappointed. He walked out of the cave and walked to another one. There was still nothing to be found in this cave. It was completely empty. Shaking his head, Lu Ming walked out. He found Xie Nianqing walking out of another cave. "Lu Ming, let me tell you, from today onwards, this half belongs to me and the other half belongs to you. You are not allowed to step into the caves that I am in. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." "Humph." Xie Nianqing waved his hand and drew a line in the middle. "Fine, I won't go." Lu Ming curled his lips. He had learned about Xie Nianqing's strange temper. Seeing that Lu Ming had agreed, Xie Nianqing walked into another cave angrily. Let's look at the storage ring and the 2 secret manuals. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's heart burned with passion. He could not be bothered with Xian Yanqing. He turned and walked into a cave, sitting cross-legged on a stone bed. With a thought, he appeared in the Temple of Paragon. He moved his hand and the storage ring appeared in his hand. This is a storage ring left behind by a martial king. What is in it? Lu Ming was looking forward to it. He wanted to enter the storage ring to check it out. However, in the next moment, Lu Ming was stunned. He could not enter the storage ring. It was blocked by a layer of inscriptions. There were powerful inscriptions on the storage ring that prevented others from prying into it. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. He wailed in his heart, "Is this how it works? It wasn't easy to get a storage ring of a martial king, but I can't open it. Isn't this too much of a scam? I don't believe it." Lu Ming clenched his teeth. He held the storage ring in his hand and circulated his true qi. Strands of true qi rushed towards the inscription on the storage ring like a dragon. With a sizzling sound, the genuine qi dissipated, and the inscription remained motionless. So many years have passed, but the inscriptions are still so sturdy. Lu Ming was speechless. Following which, he continued to inject his zhenqi. Similarly, the true qi dissipated, and the inscriptions remained motionless. My cultivation is too weak. I can't open it at all. That's not right. The inscription is slightly weakened. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He sensed it carefully and found that the inscriptions on the storage ring were indeed slightly weakened. Although it was only a tiny bit, almost negligible, it showed that Lu Ming's true qi had some effect on the storage ring. As long as it was effective, as long as he persisted, he would be able to open it sooner or later. Continue. Lu Ming roused himself and continued to inject true qi into the storage ring. 3 hours later, Lu Ming was sweating profusely and gasping for breath. However, the inscriptions on the storage ring were only slightly weakened. It was probably only 1/10,000th of its original strength. Sigh, it seems like I can only slowly grind it down in the future. In the future, as my cultivation level increases, the speed of weakening this inscription will definitely be faster. This is a storage ring of a martial king expert, it is worth it to spend some effort. Lu Ming thought. Now, let's take a look at the 2 secret manuals. Lu Ming took out the 2 secret manuals and started to read them. When he opened them, Lu Ming was overjoyed. The first book was called Ancient Shield Technique. It was an Earth-rank low-grade defensive martial skill. It was an Earth-level martial skill, and a rare defensive martial skill. Lu Ming couldn't help but be happy. One had to know that in the Mystic Essence Sword sect, upper Earth-level martial skills were the best martial skills. Ordinary people were not qualified to learn them. Ancient Shield Technique was a lower Earth-level martial skill. After mastering it, one could condense an ancient shield to protect oneself. When one cultivated to the first level, they would be able to form an ancient shield. When one reached the second level, 2 ancient shields could be condensed. And so on. When one reached the 6th level, 6 ancient shields could be condensed. Moreover, the ancient shields could be controlled and stacked at will. Although it was similar to Duan Gang's defensive martial skill, its power and profoundness were much stronger. If I can successfully cultivate this martial skill, then how strong would my defense be? Lu Ming's heart was burning. This was an Earth-level martial skill. Its power was much stronger than a profound-level martial skill. As long as one reached the first level of a lower Earth-level martial skill, its power would be comparable to the 6th level of a superior profound-level martial skill. Its power was simply unimaginable. Lu Ming's lower profound-level martial skill, the Flaming Astral Spear Art, had not reached the 6th level, let alone the 6th level of a superior profound-level martial skill. After reading the Ancient Shield Technique, Lu Ming looked at another book. 3 Dao Palms, a lower earth-level martial skill. Another lower earth-level martial skill. Lu Ming's heart was beating wildly. Lu Ming looked carefully and was envious of the 3 Dao Palms' power. Which book should he cultivate? Although a lower earth-level martial skill was powerful, the difficulty of cultivating it was equally terrifying. Now that there was no chanting, Lu Ming's speed of comprehending martial skills would definitely decrease. It was impossible to cultivate both books at the same time. He could only choose one to try. I'll cultivate the ancient shield technique first. In terms of offense, I have the flaming astral spear art. Moreover, I haven't reached the highest level yet, so there's no rush. Lu Ming made up his mind to cultivate the ancient shield technique first. After that, he put away the 3 Dao Palms and started to carefully study the ancient shield technique. An earth-level martial skill was extremely mysterious. Lu Ming spent a few hours but still couldn't find the way. No rush, no rush. An earth-level martial skill is definitely not that easy to cultivate. I'll just spend some time every day to slowly comprehend it. Lu Ming secretly warned himself. At this moment, Lu Ming's true qi had almost recovered. Immediately, Lu Ming stood up and walked to the third platform. He placed 9 spirit crystals on the stone platform. Soon, a human figure condensed. Cultivation begins. Lu Ming muttered and rushed towards the human figure. Boom boom boom. The 2 human figures constantly bombarded each other. In the process of the battle, Lu Ming constantly looked for the shortcomings of his martial skill to make up for his weaknesses. This kind of battle progressed very quickly. When his true qi was exhausted, Lu Ming stopped and recovered his true qi while comprehending the ancient shield technique. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming realized that every time he placed 9 spirit crystals, the human figure could only last for 6 hours before dissipating. Lu Ming made great progress in the continuous battle. His martial skill had improved significantly. A few days later, Lu Ming came out of the Temple of Paragon and went to the tunnel. He fought with the fire spirit and comprehended the fire force. Every day, Lu Ming's schedule was packed to the brim. He strived to increase his strength as quickly as possible. Xie Nianqing also hid in the opposite cave every day. He was probably cultivating as well. Just like that, a month passed. Moon seizing. In the tunnel, Lu Ming swept his spear and a dozen fire spirits were sent flying and exploded in the air. The flaming astral spear art has finally reached the 6th level, man and martial skill as one. Chapter 172. After a month of hard work, the flaming astral spear art had finally broken through to the 6th level. Lu Ming's combat strength had increased once again. His fire force had also improved and he was getting closer to the small success stage. Unfortunately, the ancient shield art's progress was still slow and there was still a long way to go before he could reach the 1st level. However, he was still improving in all aspects. Lu Ming roused himself and continued to cultivate. The flaming astral spear art had already reached the great completion stage. Next, Lu Ming focused more on the ancient shield art and the fire force. He spent more than half of the day fighting the flame spirit in this tunnel. His understanding of the fire force had increased by leaps and bounds. In the blink of an eye, another month had passed. On the 3rd platform in the Temple of Paragon, Lu Ming was fighting with a blurry figure. That figure had completely replicated Lu Ming's combat strength. No matter how much Lu Ming improved, the figure also improved. Boom! Boom! The flaming tongue spear was like a fire dragon in Lu Ming's hands. It danced in the air and unleashed a powerful force. The space kept exploding. There's a flaw. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. His spear was like lightning as it pierced towards the figure's right shoulder. Just as the tip of the spear was about to pierce his shoulder, a light suddenly flashed from his body, and a shield about 1.5 meters long and 1 meter wide appeared. The shield looked very ancient, and it was bronze in color. It looked like it was a shield used by ancient people in battle. Clang! The spear pierced the shield and there was a loud explosion. Lu Ming used all his strength to pierce the shield, but the shield didn't budge. The huge force caused Lu Ming's spear to bend. Whoosh! At this moment, the figure also pierced towards Lu Ming. It was as fast as lightning and there was no time to dodge. Ancient shield. With a thought, an ancient shield identical to the other party's appeared in front of Lu Ming. When the other party's spear struck the shield, it did not budge at all. This was the ancient shield technique. After 2 months of hard work, Lu Ming had finally succeeded in cultivating it 2 days ago. He had reached the first level and was able to condense an ancient shield to protect himself. An Earth-grade martial skill was indeed worthy of being called an Earth-grade martial skill. Its power was still beyond Lu Ming's expectations. Even if he used all his strength, he could not break it in the slightest. With the ancient shield technique, as long as the person's combat strength was similar to his, he would be in an invincible position. Boom! Lu Ming and that figure both used the ancient shield technique. The two of them completely ignored each other's attacks and attacked each other crazily. Even if it is an Earth-grade martial skill, it should have a weakness. It is impossible for it to be flawless. What I need to do is to find the weakness of the ancient shield technique in the fierce battle with myself. This way, my comprehension of the ancient shield technique will be greatly increased. Lu Ming was very clear in his heart that the figure condensed on the third platform had the same combat strength as him. As long as he continuously wanted to defeat himself, his martial skill would continue to improve. Fire force, just a little bit more and I will be able to reach the small success stage. I feel that it won't be long. Lu Ming's eyes were extremely bright. Every aspect of his body was improving, which made Lu Ming feel extremely refreshed. What was more refreshing than watching yourself become stronger and stronger? The battle continued until 6 hours were up. When the spiritual qi of the spiritual crystals was almost exhausted, Lu Ming stopped. Holding a spiritual crystal with both hands, Lu Ming began to recover. With the appearance of the spirit-devouring bloodline, the spirit energy in the spirit crystal was devoured and refined by the bloodline in the blink of an eye, turning into Lu Ming's vital energy. Soon, Lu Ming's vital energy recovered and even improved. A few days ago, Lu Ming's cultivation had also improved a little and he had reached the mid-second stage of the martial master realm. After recovering his true qi, Lu Ming left the Temple of Paragon and planned to walk around the cave to relax his mind. After arriving at the cave, Lu Ming couldn't help but look at the cave where Xian Yanqing was. It had been 2 months and Xian Yanqing had been hiding in that cave and hadn't come out. Moreover, Lu Ming could vaguely hear the sound of flowing water. What's in that cave? Lu Ming was overflowing with curiosity and decided to take a look. He restrained his aura and carefully approached. When he arrived at the entrance of the cave, the sound of flowing water became even clearer. Great, so there really is water. I haven't had a drop of water for a month. Lu Ming's eyes shone with a fiery light. Although he had some water in his storage ring, he had used it up a month ago. In the past month, he hadn't had a drop of water. Although with his cultivation, it wouldn't be a problem even if he didn't drink water for half a year because he could absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth to replenish himself, it was still very uncomfortable. He tiptoed in, and a river came into view. Yes, a river. There was actually an underground river here. It was 5 to 6 meters wide and the river flowed to an unknown place. How was this a cave? It was clearly another huge underground cave. However, he didn't see Xian Yanqing's figure. That's strange. Where did Xian Yanqing go? Lu Ming walked to the underground river and looked around curiously. However, he didn't see Xian Yinqing's figure. Who cares about her? She might be cultivating in another cave. I'll take a bath first. Lu Ming hadn't taken a bath for 2 months and felt that his whole body was about to stink. When he saw an underground river, he suddenly felt itchy all over. In no time, Lu Ming had taken off all his clothes. He was stark naked. Splash! At this moment, in the river in front of Lu Ming, water splashed and a figure emerged from the water. Wasn't that Xian Yinqing? At this moment, Xian Yinqing's upper body was almost exposed above the water. A large area of snow-white skin was reflected in Lu Ming's eyes. Although Xian Yinqing was young, she had developed quite a lot. A pair of small rabbits stood erect in front of her chest. Drops of water hung on them, crystal clear. Lu Ming had never seen such a scene before. His eyes immediately widened as he stared blankly. When Xian Yinqing came out of the water, she immediately saw a naked man standing in front of her. She was also stunned. Her eyes were wide open as she stared at Lu Ming with a confused expression. Ah! Pervert! After a while, a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering shriek rang out from within the cave. Nestle! Lu Ming also came to his senses. He picked up his clothes and put them on quickly. Xian Yinqing sank to the bottom of the water. In a few breaths of time, she rushed up again. The difference was that she was wearing a long dress. Lu Ming, you actually dared to peek at me bathing. I'm going to kill you. Xian Yinqing screamed. Her body was like lightning as she rushed toward Lu Ming. While she was in the air, she continuously sent out a few palm strikes. A few powerful palm strikes blasted toward Lu Ming. Third layer martial master. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. It was obvious that Xian Yinqing's cultivation had broken through in the past 2 months. Lu Ming did not take the attack head-on. He used the high air steps and his body flashed, avoiding Xian Yinqing's palm strikes. After 2 months of cultivation, his high air steps had also improved to the 4th level. Don't even think about dodging. Xian Yinqing shouted and sent out 6 palm strikes. In an instant, 6 demonic palm strikes blasted toward Lu Ming. So strong, she became stronger again. Lu Ming was secretly surprised. Chapter 173. Hey! Are you crazy? I didn't do it on purpose. Lu Ming yelled and used his high steps to evade the attack. I don't care if you did it on purpose or not. Anyway, you saw it. I'm going to dig your eyeballs out. Xian Yinqing's eyes were cold. Damn, so what if I saw it? You even saw my private parts? I only saw half of you, but you saw my whole body. How are we going to settle this? Lu Ming shouted angrily. Shameless pervert, shameless, despicable scum. Xian Yinqing was so angry that his face turned red, and he cursed incoherently. Lu Ming was speechless. Boom! Boom! Xian Yinqing's palm power became stronger and blocked Lu Ming from all directions. Even if Lu Ming used the soaring steps, it would be difficult for him to dodge. Ancient Shield. Without hesitation, Lu Ming used the Ancient Shield's secret art. An ancient shield condensed and floated in front of him. Boom! Boom! Xian Yinqing's demonic great palm continuously smashed on the ancient shield. A series of violent explosions sounded. The ancient shield in front of Lu Ming shook violently, but it was not broken. It completely blocked Xian Yinqing's demonic great palm. Earth-level martial skill, you actually cultivated an Earth-level martial skill? Xian Yinqing let out an incredulous cry. Generally, only martial ancestor realm warriors were qualified to cultivate an Earth-level martial skill. Now, Lu Ming, who who was only a second-level martial master, was able to successfully cultivate it. No wonder Xian Yinqing was shocked. Now you know how powerful I am? How about this, since we've seen each other, why don't you follow me in the future? Well, don't fight anymore, I won't lower myself to your level. Lu Ming laughed loudly. He was very arrogant. I'll dig your eyes out from your big head. Xian Yinqing shouted. Unwilling to give up, he launched a storm of attacks at Lu Ming. It had to be said that Xian Yinqing was really too strong. In terms of battle prowess, Lu Ming was definitely not his match. However, Lu Ming had mastered the ancient shield technique. All of Xian Yinqing's attacks were blocked by the ancient shield. Xian Yinqing blasted out dozens of palms in succession, but he was unable to break through Lu Ming's defense. Instead, he was so tired that he was gasping for breath. Xian Yinqing, you're the one who was unkind in the first place. You monopolized such a good place, yet you still have the nerve to attack me. Don't think that I'm afraid of you. Lu Ming coldly shouted. While defending, Lu Ming did not forget to attack. His long spear pierced through the air, constantly attacking Xian Yinqing's vital points, but all of his attacks were scattered by Xian Yinqing's palm power. The two of them exchanged more than 100 moves, but neither of them could do anything to the other. Finally, after exchanging a move, they both retreated more than 10 steps and stood facing each other. Xian Yinqing was gasping for breath. When he thought of the scene just now, his cheeks flushed red. He stared fiercely at Lu Ming. If looks could kill, Lu Ming would have been pierced into a hornet's nest. Lu Ming was also sweating all over and panting like a cow. He held a few spirit crystals in his hand and controlled his blood to recover. Although the power of an earth-level martial skill was great, the consumption of true qi was also extremely terrifying. Hey, why are you staring at me so hard? Do you still want to see? I'm already dressed. Do you want me to take them off? Lu Ming could not help but say. As soon as the words left his mouth, Lu Ming wanted to slap himself and secretly scold himself for his cheap mouth. Sure enough, Xian Yinqing's beautiful eyes widened and emitted a cold murderous intent. He gritted his teeth and wanted to bite Lu Ming a few times. However, this time, Xian Yinqing did not make a move. Instead, he stared fiercely at Lu Ming and said coldly, "This time, I'll let it go. Now, please leave this place. I've already said before that this place belongs to me." It belongs to you? Why should it belong to you? This is an underground river. Can you use it all? I want to take a bath now. After the big battle, Lu Ming felt even more itchy all over. He wanted to jump into the underground river and take a bath. No. Xian Yinqing said coldly. No? I'm a man. A man can't say no. Today, even if I can't, I have to. Hey, I'm going to take off my clothes. If you want to look at me more. After saying that, Lu Ming began to take off his clothes. He found that to deal with Xian Yinqing, he could not use normal means. Instead, it was easier to deal with him by being a rascal. Sure enough, when Xian Yinqing saw Lu Ming take off his clothes, his eyes were burning with anger. However, in the end, he had no choice but to clench his teeth and turn around to leave. Lu Ming laughed heartily. He took off his clothes and jumped into the underground river. The river water was extremely cold. Lu Ming was wrapped in it. Lu Ming felt that every pore on his body was opened and a comfortable feeling spread throughout his body. Cool, this is too cool. Lu Ming could not help but sigh. Then, Lu Ming leisurely soaked in the water. Hey, there are fish in the water? Lu Ming suddenly felt that there was something swimming under the water. Lu Ming dived into the water. The underground river was quite deep, at least more than 10 meters deep. When Lu Ming dived down, he found many silver-white palm-sized prawns swimming around. So it's a prawn. Wait, is this a centenarian prawn? Lu Ming's eyes widened in surprise. Centenarian prawn was a strange species that could live for at least 100 years. It was extremely rare and lived in places where people rarely went. The most famous thing about the centenarian prawn was that its meat was extremely delicious and contained a large amount of essence. If a martial artist consumed it, it could continuously improve their physical body and enhance their physical strength. In the outside world, each of them could be sold for a sky-high price. However, Lu Ming could see a group of them at a glance. No wonder Xia Nianqing wanted to occupy this place and not leave. It turns out that there are centenarian prawns here. So cunning. Lu Ming originally felt a little sorry for Xia Nianqing, but now he felt indignant. I'll catch it. Lu Ming grabbed with his claw. True Qi gushed out and formed a net of True Qi, covering the centenarian prawn. Splash! A group of at least 20 centenarian prawns was caught by Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out a jade box and filled it with water. He placed the centenarian prawns in the jade box and kept it in the Temple of Paragon. Then, he twisted his body and swam forward like a fish, catching a group of centenarian prawns. In less than half an hour, Lu Ming had caught more than 100 centenarian prawns. There are so many centenarian prawns in this underground river. There should be more in other places. I'll come back in a few days. Lu Ming rushed out of the water with satisfaction and put on his clothes. When he walked out of the cave, he didn't see Xia Nianqing in the cave outside. He should be in another cave. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered. He returned to the cave he was in before and sat on the stone bench. With a wave of his hand, a box of centenarian prawns was placed on the stone table. The centenarian prawns were palm-sized and silver-white in color. Lu Ming picked one up and shook it to death with his True Qi. Then, he peeled off the shell of the centenarian prawn. The crystal-clear and plump prawn meat was revealed. Lu Ming took a bite. It was soft and tender. There was no fishy smell. Instead, there was a faint fragrance. It was indeed very delicious. Lu Ming finished the centenarian prawn in a few bites. Then, he felt a cool energy spreading throughout his body, seeping into his muscles and bones. Waves of numbness and itchiness spread out. It was very comfortable. Immediately, Lu Ming used the Raging Flame Vajra art to refine the energy and increase the strength of his body. The centenarian prawns are indeed amazing. It's just as the rumors say. Chapter 174. Then, Lu Ming ate more than 10 centenarian shrimps in a row. After refining the essence of the 10 centenarian shrimps, Lu Ming's body was constantly approaching the level of rank 2 upper realm. The taste is really good, but it should be better if I change the taste. Lu Ming clicked his tongue. Then, his eyes lit up. He got up and walked out to the flaming passage. As soon as he walked into the passage, flames and fire spirits emerged from the passage. Grill them for me. Lu Ming waved his hand and more than 10 centenarian shrimps appeared. They were controlled by Lu Ming's genuine qi and floated in the air. Lu Ming was actually using the flames here to grill the shrimps. If the ancestors of the Dongyi tribe who had set up these inscriptions saw this, they would be so angry that they would crawl out of their coffins. Sizzle, the centenarian shrimps made sizzling sounds. Soon, a fragrant aroma filled the air. As for the fire spirits, they were all blown away by Lu Ming's long spear. As time passed, the aroma became stronger and stronger. In the end, the aroma filled the entire underground cave. Xia Nianqing's figure appeared at the entrance of a cave and looked over curiously. When she saw Lu Ming looking at her, she couldn't help but snort coldly and return to the cave. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered with her. At this time, the centenarian shrimps had been grilled. They were red all over. He walked out of the passage and picked up one to peel the shell. After peeling the shell, the aroma became several times stronger. He couldn't wait to take a bite. It was soft and fragrant. It was several times better than when it wasn't grilled. Awesome, this is awesome. Then, Lu Ming finished the dozen centenarian shrimps like a whirlwind. Satisfied, he returned to the cave to refine the essence of the centenarian shrimps. His physical body was constantly improving. Soon, the essence of the dozen centenarian shrimps was refined. At this time, a strong aroma came from outside. Lu Ming walked out of the cave and saw Xian Yinqing roasting shrimps in the passage like him. Seeing Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing blushed slightly. Then, she glared at Lu Ming and snorted coldly, then continued to grill shrimps. Ha! Lu Ming laughed and returned to the cave to continue cultivating. 5 days later, Lu Ming ran out of centenarian shrimps and went to the underground river to catch more. Xian Yinqing was helpless. Lu Ming had cultivated the ancient shield. She couldn't break it for the time being, so she could only let Lu Ming catch it. She couldn't break it. She could only let Lu catch. In order to break through an Earth-tier defensive martial skill, only an Earth-tier offensive martial skill of the same level would be possible. Or, his cultivation was too high. Xian Yinqing's cultivation technique was rather special. She had yet to start cultivating an Earth-level martial skill. You. Xian Yinqing could only comfort herself like this. In this way, Lu Ming would catch centenarian shrimps every few days. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed since the collapse of this small plane. In the last period, Lu Ming's physical body rushed to complete second stage with the help of the centenarian shrimps. The progress was so fast that Lu Ming was speechless. Therefore, in the last few days, Lu Ming crazily caught centenarian shrimps and stored them. Of course, Xian Yinqing did the same. Almost all the centenarian shrimps in the river were caught. When the 3 months were up, the place where the stone altar had exploded began to emit rays of light. On the ground, the inscriptions were shining and covered the ground like a net. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing stood aside and waited. A few hours later, the inscriptions were dazzling and finally condensed into a light door. The space path, the teleportation door. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After being trapped here for 3 months, he could finally get out. In these 3 months, he had gained a lot. Although the cultivation environment here was much better than outside, if he stayed here for a long time, his family and friends outside would be worried. Moreover, blindly cultivating was not necessarily better. Martial artists needed to experience various things in the mortal world to hone their state of mind. Only then could they continue to improve. Whoosh! Whoosh! When the teleportation door appeared, Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing moved at the same time and rushed into the light door. After a while, when everything stabilized, Lu Ming found that he had returned to Mount Jiuyao. He and Xian Yinqing stood on a huge monster stone statue. Under their feet, light was shining. Then, the light dimmed and everything returned to normal. It's a one-way teleportation. It seems that it's impossible to enter in the future. Lu Ming thought to himself. Lu Ming, I'll settle the score with you sooner or later. Humph. Xian Yinqing stared at Lu Ming fiercely. Anytime. But don't get beaten up by me the next time you see me. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Beaten up by you? How is that possible? Next time, I'll definitely smash your turtle shell and trample you under my feet. Xian Yinqing gritted his teeth. Then, his body flashed and disappeared under Mount Jiuyao like a black butterfly. Lu Ming smiled and did not mind. I wonder how the war in Dongke City is going. Lu Ming's thoughts returned to the war in Dongke City. Then, Lu Ming moved. He stepped on the top of the tree and rushed to Dongke City. Half a day later, Dongke City was in sight. But now, the situation in Dongke City was completely different from 3 months ago. 3 months ago, Dongke City was on high alert. But now, Dongke City's gates were open and people were coming in and out in an endless stream. It seemed that the war in Dongke City was over. After Lu Ming entered the city, he went straight to the mayor's mansion. He wanted to find Fu Liang to ask about the situation. When he showed his identity as a disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, he naturally met Fu Liang. "Lu Ming, you're not dead?" Fu Liang was shocked to see Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and said, "City Lord Fu, I'm fine. Young hero Lu Ming, it's great that you're not dead." That day, the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect came back and said that you've died in the ruins of the Dongi tribe. Fu Liang told him about the situation during this period. 3 months ago, the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect came back with only 50 people left. They said that the others had died in the ruins of the Dongi tribe. The Dongi tribe also retreated to the coastal mountains 1 day later. This incident shook the entire Mystic Essence Sword sect. Many people came to find Lu Ming, but in the end, they all returned without success. Lu Ming guessed that those people should be Pang Shi, Feng Wu, Mulans, and the others. "I heard that the Mystic Essence Sword sect has confirmed the fact that you've died in battle. This news has also been reported to your family." Fu Liang said. "What? They've already reported to my family." Lu Ming's heart tightened. If Li Ping knew that he was dead, how sad would she be? In Li Ping's heart, Lu Yuntian was already dead. Lu Ming was her only hope. If she knew that Lu Ming was dead, how desperate would she be? At this moment, Lu Ming was anxious to return home. "Thank you, Mayor Fu. I have to go home now. Goodbye." Lu Ming cupped his fists. Without a moment's hesitation, he left the mayor's mansion and rushed toward Firestorm City. Fortunately, Dongke City was not too far away from Windy Fire City. Lu Ming used the high air steps and traveled at full speed. He was like a gust of wind as he rushed toward Windy Fire City. When his true chi was exhausted, he used spirit crystals to recover. Chapter 175. Look, who's that? Lu Ming, that's the young lord of the Lu clan, Lu Ming. Didn't they say that he was dead? So he's not dead. Something big is going to happen. As soon as Lu Ming walked into Firestorm City, the crowd looked at him and discussed. Lu Ming frowned. He felt that the people around him were looking at him strangely. Other than surprise, there was also a trace of pity. Lu Ming was puzzled, but he did not stop. He went straight to the Lu clan. After a while, he arrived at the gate of the Lu clan. "Who's there?" "Stop right there, You're, the young lord?" Lu Ming. A burly man guarding the gate shouted. When he saw that it was Lu Ming, he cried out in surprise. The other burly men guarding the gate were also shocked. "It's me. I'm not dead. Get out of the way," Lu Ming said. With that, he was about to walk in. However, the burly men guarding the gate pulled out their sabers and blocked in front of Lu Ming. "Lu Ming, you can't go in." "Impudent!" Lu Ming shouted. His frown deepened. The guards of the Lu clan actually called him by his name and pulled out their sabers to stop him. Something was wrong. Seeing that Lu Ming was angry, the burly men's faces turned pale. Obviously, they were afraid. One of them gritted his teeth and said, "Lu Ming, we're following orders. No one is allowed to go in." "Following orders? Whose orders?" Lu Ming scolded, but the bad feeling in his heart grew stronger. Young lord, go, don't come back. Suddenly, a white-haired old man rushed out from inside and shouted loudly. Uncle Chong, what's going on? Lu Ming shouted. The old man was an old servant of the Lu clan. He did not have much cultivation, but he had always been loyal to the Lu clan. Young lord, it's the Grand Elder. He's back, and he's bringing a lot of experts with him. He wants to take over the Lu clan for himself. Several of the core elders were killed, and the other branches of the Lu clan have already submitted to the Grand Elder. He shouted at the count. What? Lu Yunxiong. Lu Ming's heart shook violently. Where is my mother? How is my mother? Lu Ming immediately thought of Li Ping. Madam has been locked up in the courtyard of the main hall and has been interrogated by them for 2 days. This old servant doesn't know how the situation is. Young master, the great elder has brought many experts with him this time. You are no match for him. You should leave first. As long as you are alive, there is hope. Uncle Chong tried to persuade him, but worry was written all over his face. Boom. 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 Uncle Chong's words were like bolts of lightning that exploded in Lu Ming's heart. In an instant, an indescribable cold killing intent was emitted from Lu Ming's body. Lu Yunxiong. Lu Ming whispered, his eyes extremely cold. At the same time, he was extremely afraid that something had happened to Li Ping. The burly gatekeepers and Uncle Chong shuddered, and a gust of cold air rushed to the top of their heads. Whoosh! Suddenly, a cold light shot out from behind the door. It was too sudden. Lu Ming was shocked, and it was too late for him to save Li Ping. A sword light pierced through Uncle Chong's back. Blood splattered everywhere, and Uncle Chong fell to the ground. Young lord, leave now. Leave now. Uncle Chong shouted, and gradually stopped breathing. A young man in his 20s walked out from behind the door and said coldly, Old man, how dare you leak information? You're courting death. Then, he looked at Lu Ming with a slightly surprised expression. Lu Ming, you're really lucky to be alive after falling into the Dongyi ruins. However, you shouldn't have come back. Since you're back, I'll send you on your way. Die. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression calmed down, but the murderous intent in his eyes was colder than 10,000-year-old ice. This young man had a green tree embroidered on his sleeve. Obviously, he was a young expert from the Duanmu family. What? You want to kill me? I know your combat strength is comparable to an ordinary 5th-level martial master, but I'm also a 5th-level martial master. Do you think I'm an ordinary 5th-level martial master? The young man from the Duanmu family sneered. Nonsense, die. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming unleashed his full strength. The powerful true qi, coupled with the power of fire, was like a volcano erupting. Boom. The long spear swept towards the young man from the Duanmu family. The young man from the Duanmu family's expression changed greatly, and he blocked with his sword. However, boom. Lu Ming's long spear collided with his long sword. He felt as though he had been hit by a volcano. His body flew backward like a cannonball, smashing through 2 walls consecutively before finally being embedded in the 3rd wall. How is this possible? His eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. One move, just one move, and all the bones in his body were broken, and he was embedded into the wall like a pile of mud. How could Lu Ming be so strong? He was a genius, and his combat strength was not something an ordinary 5th-level martial master could compare to. Yet, he could not even block one move from Lu Ming. Lu Ming held the long spear and walked step by step towards the young man from the Duanmu family. The guards at the door were scared out of their wits, and their bodies trembled. Lu Ming, don't kill me. My Duanmu family has a 9th-level martial master expert here. If you kill me, your whole family will die, and your mother will be miserable." The young man from the Duanmu family screamed in horror. Whoosh! The long spear in Lu Ming's hand turned into a spear light, and shot out, piercing through the young man's heart and nailing him to the wall. Lu Ming's body moved, and he jumped over 2 walls. He pulled out the long spear and headed towards the Lu family's courtyard. The Lu family's courtyard was outside the Lu family's conference hall, and it occupied a large area. At this moment, there was an armchair at the entrance of the conference hall. An old man was sitting on it, resting with his eyes closed. There were more than 10 people around the old man, and one of them was Lu Yunxiong. He was staring coldly at the courtyard. In the courtyard, Li Ping and 4 other core elders of the Lu family stood together. They were surrounded by more than 30 burly men. These people were basically from the Duanmu family. However, there was an exception, and that was Ning Kong. Yes, Ning Feng's father, one of the chief elders of the Vermilion Bird family, Ning Kong. "Li Ping, have you thought it through? Announce to the entire Lu family that you will pass the patriarch position to me, and then kneel in front of everyone and apologize to me, admitting that you have wronged me." Lu Yunxiong looked coldly at Li Ping and said, "Don't even think about it. In your dreams." Li Ping rejected immediately. "Don't even think about it. You're about to die, and you're still holding on. I've starved you for 2 days, and it seems like it's not enough. Then continue to starve and stand here. I'll see how long you can hold on." Lu Yunxiong said gloomily. Li Ping's face was pale, and her body was trembling. She looked extremely weak. 2 days, it had been 2 days. She had been forced by Lu Yunxiong to stand in the courtyard without food or water, and she had to endure the scorching sun. Chapter 176. Lu Yunxiong, give up. "Even if I die, I won't let you have your way." Li Ping scolded. "Bitch, what's the point of holding on? Your husband is dead, and now that little bastard Lu Ming is dead too. You dare to go against me? I want all of you dead." Lu Yunxiong scolded. "Nonsense. My son Lu Ming will never die." Li Ping shouted. "He won't die. Don't deceive yourself. He can't be any more dead. You have no one to rely on." Lu Yunxiong sneered and attacked Li Ping. "Ming-er." Li Ping's body trembled and tears welled up in her eyes. Although she did not admit it, she knew very well that Lu Ming was afraid that an accident had really happened. The Mystic Essence Sword sect sent someone to announce it. How could it be wrong? She was in despair. "Lu Yunxiong, aren't you afraid of being punished by the higher-ups of the Mystic Essence Sword sect?" A core elder shouted angrily. "Huh, punish?" When Lu Ming was alive, he was indeed a peerless genius and was valued by the Mystic Essence Sword sect. But now that he's dead, who would punish me for a dead person? Moreover, everyone here is from the Duanmu family. How could the higher-ups of the Mystic Essence Sword sect punish someone from the Duanmu family? What a joke! Lu Yunxiong laughed wildly. The other burly men from the Duanmu family also laughed proudly. What a pity! What a pity that little bastard Lu Ming is dead. Otherwise, I would kill his mother in front of him and let him have a taste of losing his family. Ning Kong's tone was very cold. Bah, a shameless person. Like father, like son. Look at you. No wonder your son died in Ming-er's hands. Li Ping glared at Ning Kong and said disdainfully. "You're courting death." Ning Kong was furious and said to Lu Yunxiong, "Brother Lu, I don't think we should wait any longer. Let me take action now and torture this bitch. I want her to beg for death. At that time, she will agree to whatever conditions you have. Lu Yunxiong, let's do it this way. We don't have so much time to waste here." The old man from the Duanmu clan opened his eyes and said, "Good. Then let's do it this way. I'll leave this person to Brother Ning. You can do whatever you want. Just use whatever means you have." Lu Yunxiong sneered. "Lu Yunxiong, what are you trying to do? How could you treat a member of the Lu clan like this? Are you still human?" A core elder of the Lu family roared. Bang! Suddenly, Ning Kong's figure moved, and a palm strike landed on this core elder's body. Ning Kong was a 9th-level martial master expert, a core elder of the Lu clan. How could he possibly block it? His body was pierced through by the boundless palm energy, and he was sent flying, no longer breathing. "You old fogies, why are you chirping here? You're courting death," Ning Kong said coldly. All of you will die a horrible death. Lu Yunxiong, you will suffer retribution." The other 3 core elders roared. Now, only 3 of the 7 core elders of the Lu clan were left. The rest were killed by the Duanmu clan 2 days ago. "Shut up, you old fogies. I wanted to spare your lives, but it seems like it's no longer necessary. Attack, kill them." Lu Yunxiong waved his hand. Clang! Clang! Around them, a few burly men from the Duanmu clan unsheathed their sabers and were about to attack. At that moment, a burly man who was covered in blood staggered in. "Oh no, oh no!" The burly man shouted. "What's going on?" Lu Yunxiong's face changed. "Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming!" The burly man exclaimed. As soon as he said that, everyone was shocked. "What Lu Ming?" "Lu Ming is dead," Lu Yunxiong said. "No, he's not dead. He's not dead. He killed his way in." The burly man shouted, his eyes shining with fear. "What?" Lu Yunxiong and the others were shocked. As for Li Ping and the other 3 core elders, they were stunned for a moment before they were overjoyed. Ming is not dead. Ming is not dead." Li Ping muttered to himself, tears of joy rolling down his cheeks. He was so excited that his body trembled. The young lord is not dead. I knew it. The young lord is a genius, how could he die? The core elders of the Lu clan laughed. "Impossible, how is this possible?" Lu Yunxiong roared. "Nothing is impossible." A cold voice came from the sky. A young figure stepped on the void, his body as light as a feather, and floated in. "Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. It's really him, he's not dead." Exclamations could be heard from the crowd. It's really the young lord." The 3 core elders laughed. Ming Li Ping was excited. "Lu Ming, it's really him." Lu Yunxiong and Ning Kong growled in shock. Lu Ming did not look at the others. He took several steps forward and landed in front of Li Ping like a gust of wind. Looking at Li Ping's pale face, Lu Ming felt a throbbing pain in his heart. His eyes reddened as he said, "Mother, I'm late, I've made you suffer." Ming, is it really you? Mother thought I'd never see you again." Li Ping caressed Lu Ming's face as tears flowed down her cheeks. Initially, she really thought that Lu Ming was dead, and her heart was filled with despair. But now, Lu Ming was standing in front of her, alive and well. The joy was indescribable, and she seemed to have recovered a lot in an instant. "Mother, take this pill." Lu Ming took out a pill that could replenish blood and qi, and fed it to Li Ping. Li Ping took the pill, but as if she remembered something, her face changed. "Ming, leave quickly, don't care about mother, leave quickly." "Leave? Since you're here, you want to leave? Ridiculous." Lu Yunxiong said coldly. At this moment, Lu Ming slowly turned around. His expression was indifferent, and his eyes were cold as ice. His gaze swept across Lu Yunxiong, Ning Kong, and the other members of the Duanmu family. He said coldly, "All of you must die." Lu Ming's murderous intent was extremely strong. He had never felt such a strong murderous intent toward anyone before. Dragons had reverse scales, and those who touched them would be killed. For Lu Ming, his family was his reverse scale. "Huh, Lu Ming, you still want to kill us? What a joke." Lu Yunxiong laughed. "Kill, Lu Ming must be killed. Kill him, and pretend that he didn't appear today, that he died in the Dongyi ruins." The old man in the armchair stood up and said coldly. If Lu Ming returned to the Mystic Essence Sword sect, it would be difficult for them to act. They might as well kill Lu Ming today, and pretend that Lu Ming didn't appear and died in the Dongyi ruins. This way, as long as the higher-ups of the Mystic Essence Sword sect didn't send people to investigate, they wouldn't know. "Lu Ming, it's good that you're not dead. Today, I'll kill the person closest to you in front of you, and let you taste the pain of losing a loved one, huh?" Ning Kong laughed. "Lu Ming, you're really stupid. If I were you, I would run back to the Mystic Essence Sword sect. How dare you show up here in broad daylight? You're the one who's looking for death." Chapter 177. Young Master, leave quickly. Don't worry about us. A core elder roared. "Kill! Kill!" However, Lu Ming's killing intent soared to the sky. His aura exploded as he swept his long spear towards the surrounding Duanmu family members. "Kill him!" Lu Yunxiong shouted. Swish! Swish! Sabers were unsheathed one by one. The surrounding Duanmu family members shouted angrily as they slashed towards Lu Ming. Dozens of people attacked together. However, when Lu Ming's long spear swept past, the saber radiance collapsed. 5 or 6 men were swept away by Lu Ming like cannonballs. They crashed into the wall of the courtyard and slid down like mud, without any signs of life. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted angrily as he swept his spear again. Another 7 or 8 men were killed. These were all martial artists in the martial master realm. They were far inferior to Lu Ming. "Attack, martial masters, attack!" Lu Yunxiong was shocked and furious. On the stairs, more than 10 martial master realm martial artists dashed out and pounced on Lu Ming. Among the dozen or so martial grand masters, the lowest cultivation was at the first level of the martial grand master realm and the highest was at the 5th level of the martial grand master realm. When more than 10 people joined forces, their power was shocking. Landslide. In an instant, Lu Ming erupted with all his strength without holding back. He brought out his bloodline and the power of fire, bringing out his full combat prowess. During this period of time, Lu Ming had made great progress. Before he came out, his fire force had reached small success. His fire force had reached small success and its power was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming's entire body was filled with scorching heat, as if he was a volcano with raging flames. Boom! Lu Ming ignored the attacks. He swept his long spear with the force of a landslide. Bang! Bang! The result was the same as before. Lu Ming was unstoppable. 4 to 5 strong martial masters were sent flying. Their bones were broken and their internal organs were shattered. They died before they landed on the ground. Strong, unbelievably strong. Lu Yunxiong and the others gasped in shock and anger. Li Ping and the 3 core elders were shocked, surprised and delighted. Kill! Lu Ming's murderous aura surged like a tide, his momentum like a rainbow. His eyes had already turned red from the killing. Boom! With another sweep of the spear, a few more great martial masters were killed. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand, like an undefeatable god of war, killing unhindered. The people of the Duanmu clan were extremely shocked and couldn't help but retreat. This brat can't be left alive. He's too terrifying. Ning Kong, Lu Yunxiong, and the others roared in their hearts. Every time he saw Lu Ming, he would discover that Lu Ming's strength would increase crazily, as if it would never stop. I'll kill him. Ning Kong roared furiously, his body pouncing towards Lu Ming like an eagle. While in midair, he struck out with his palm. Ning Kong was a peak expert of the 9th level of the Martial Master realm. This palm strike was earth-shattering. The space rumbled and the air exploded. A terrifying pressure surged towards Lu Ming. Ancient shield. An ancient shield appeared, blocking in front of Lu Ming. Explode. At the same time, Lu Ming exploded with his strongest move, blasting towards Ning Kong's palm force. Boom! Terrifying shockwaves rolled in all directions. Lu Ming's attack was destroyed. The powerful palm force continued to blast towards Lu Ming. Li Ping turned pale with fright. At this moment, Li Ping was led by the 3 core elders to a corner of the courtyard. Clang! The powerful palm force blasted onto the shield in front of Lu Ming, causing a violent explosion. The ancient shield was vibrating continuously. Thereafter, it exploded with a loud bang. Lu Ming's body was thrown backward for more than 20 meters. He slammed heavily against a wall before coming to a stop. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood. The 9th level of the Martial Master realm is indeed powerful. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Just now, he had resisted with all his strength. First, he used the explode to reduce a part of the opponent's palm force. Then, he used the ancient shield art to resist. Even with his perfect second-stage body, he was still injured by the palm. My bloodline is indeed useless against an existence 5 levels higher than me. Lu Ming sighed. Just now, his bloodline had not erupted yet. It could have devoured half of the attack, but it had failed just now. Ning Kong's cultivation was 7 levels higher than his. The difference was too great. Lu Ming was shocked, but he did not know that Ning Kong and the others were even more shocked. Ning Kong's palm was blocked by Lu Ming. Although he was injured, he was not killed. This was too unbelievable. Especially Ning Kong himself, who was even more shocked. One had to know that he was a 9th level martial master expert. Although he did not go all out, he was confident that even a martial artist who was an 8th level martial master would be injured by his palm. What was Lu Ming's cultivation level? The 2nd level of the martial master realm. How was this possible? Earth level martial skill. You actually cultivated an Earth level martial skill? The Duanmu family elder who was sitting on the armchair shouted crazily. What? Earth level martial skill? The others were even more shocked. Earth level martial skills were extremely rare. The difficulty of cultivating them was even more shocking. Normally, only martial ancestor realm warriors could cultivate them. Lu Ming was only a 2nd level martial master. How could he cultivate it successfully? We must kill him. At this moment, Lu Yunxiong, Ning Kong, and the Duanmu family elders were all shouting in their hearts. They were afraid. Lu Ming's talent was too terrifying. If he was allowed to grow, who knew how powerful he would be? That would be their disaster. Only by killing him in the cradle could they avoid this disaster. Boom! Ning Kong's aura surged. As for the Duanmu family elder, his aura also erupted. He was a 9th level martial master and was even stronger than Ning Kong. He was at the peak of the 9th level martial master. Lu Ming, you must die today. Lu Yunxiong roared. Is that so? You're the one who will die today. Lu Ming's voice was very indifferent. Leave quickly. You're still not their match. As long as you leave, they won't dare to do anything to me," Li Ping shouted, extremely worried. Those people were too strong. Lu Ming was obviously not their match. "Mother, don't worry. Even if the person who hurt you is at the end of the world, I will kill him." Lu Ming smiled slightly. At this moment, his hand glowed. The fire-tongue spear disappeared and was replaced by the demon-banishing spear. Beast soul, beast soul. I didn't expect it to come in handy so soon," Lu Ming whispered. That's right. He planned to merge with the beast soul and fight with Ning Kong. There were 2.5 beast souls in the demon-banishing spear. 2 of them were at the peak of martial ancestor realm and were known as half-step king beast souls. The other half was a king beast soul. Lu Ming planned to merge with the peak of martial ancestor realm beast soul. However, he was taking a huge risk. Given Lu Ming's current cultivation and physical strength, he was not confident that he would be able to withstand the recoil. However, this was the only way at the moment. "Beast soul, come out." The demon-banishing spear shook and a beast roar was heard. A huge black wolf howled and flew into Lu Ming's body. Boom! At this moment, an extremely strong aura erupted from Lu Ming's body. This aura was strong, evil, tyrannical, and filled with killing intent. Roar! Lu Ming could not help but roar. His voice did not sound like a human's, but more like a wolf's. Oh no, he's merging with the beast soul. What a powerful beast soul. Stop him. Chapter 178. Boom! Boom! The Duanmu family's elder and Ning Kong attacked. 2 terrifying attacks blasted toward Lu Ming. Roar! Lu Ming roared and leaped forward, sweeping his spear horizontally. The air exploded and the space trembled. Water-like ripples appeared. With 2 loud explosions, the Duanmu family's elder and Ning Kong trembled and flew backward. Ning Kong was even worse off. He spat out a mouthful of blood. How can it be so strong? What level is that demonic beast? Ning Kong shouted in disbelief. He can't hold on for long after fusing with such a powerful beast soul. He will explode from the beast soul's power. Let's attack together and make him explode faster. The Duanmu family's elder roared. At this moment, Lu Ming was indeed under great pressure. The beast soul's violent power was rampaging in his body. His muscles and bones groaned as if they could explode at any time. Even his perfected rank 2 body could not withstand it. At this moment, a blood-red light flashed at his spine and a powerful devouring force was emitted. This devouring power had neutralized most of the violent tearing force. This greatly reduced the pressure on Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming roared and rushed forward. His target was Lu Yunxiong. He had to kill Lu Yunxiong. Save me! Lu Yunxiong turned pale with fright. His legs were trembling as he retreated. At this moment, the Duanmu family's elder and Ning Kong attacked again. The other Duanmu family members cooperated and attacked. Streaks of sword chi, saber light, and palm energy tore through the air toward Lu Ming. Sky-splitting wolf! Lu Ming roared. His long hair danced in the wind and his aura was demonic. With a thrust of his spear, wolf howls could be heard. From the spear, huge black wolves flew out. This was the combat technique of the huge black wolf beast soul. As he had fused with the beast soul, Lu Ming could use it temporarily. The huge black wolves pounced, their claws splitting the sky as they pounced toward the Duanmu family's experts. Ah! Ah! Blood-curdling screams rose and fell. More than 10 men from the Duanmu family were torn apart. The Duanmu family elder and Ning Kong were forced back by 7 or 8 black wolves. Kill! Kill them all! Lu Ming wielded his spear and charged towards the remaining Duanmu clan members like a tiger charging into a flock of sheep. Blood splattered everywhere, and blood qi permeated the air. At this moment, Lu Ming had transformed into a god of death, slaughtering to his heart's content. Every time a spear shadow flashed, a person would be killed. In just a few breaths, more than 20 people were killed. Fiendish demon, go. The remaining 10 or so members of the Duanmu clan were scared out of their wits. They ran for their lives and fled outside. Lu Ming's figure flashed and killed a few more people. Retreat. Lu Ming is no match for him. Let's retreat first. The old man from the Duanmu clan was so scared that his face was trembling. He roared in anger and then let out a long howl. Gga. Then, a bird cry came from the sky. The two large eagles swooped down. You want to retreat? Stay here. Lu Ming shouted and dashed out, sweeping his spear. Boom! Boom! The old man from the Duanmu clan and Ning Kong joined forces and exchanged a blow with Lu Ming. However, the result was that the two of them were forced to retreat. Ning Kong's face turned pale and he spat out another mouthful of blood. Go! The old man from the Duanmu clan borrowed the force and retreated to Lu Yunxiong's side. He grabbed Lu Yunxiong and soared into the sky, reaching 100 meters in the blink of an eye. Although experts at the peak of the 9th level of the martial Grandmaster realm could not fly, it was not difficult for them to jump a few hundred meters. At this moment, the two large eagles had also flown to this distance. The old man from the Duanmu clan and Lu Yunxiong landed on the back of one of the large eagles. The large eagle cried out and soared into the sky. Lu Yunxiong was Lu Yao's father and Duanmu Lin's future father-in-law. His status was not ordinary and he had to save him. Bang! At this moment, Ning Kong stomped his foot and soared into the sky, flying toward the other large eagle. Stay here! Lu Ming roared. His body was like a cannonball as he soared into the sky and charged toward Ning Kong. Landslide. The long spear was like a mountain as it charged toward Ning Kong. Blood slaughter. Ning Kong roared and spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood. He exerted all his strength and a terrifying aura roared as he threw out a few palm strikes. The blood and palm energy gathered and formed a few blood-red palm prints that blasted toward Lu Ming. Ning Kong was putting his life on the line. He had even used his secret technique. However, he still could not stop Lu Ming. After merging with the beast soul of a peak martial grandmaster, Lu Ming's strength was infinitely close to the martial grandmaster realm. He stood at the peak of the martial grandmaster realm. Ning Kong was no match for him. The long spear struck and the palm prints were destroyed one by one. Ning Kong coughed out blood and retreated. He used this self-harming method and finally landed on the large eagle's back. On the other hand, Lu Ming's body fell downward. Lu Ming, you want to kill me? Dream on. You've killed so many people from the Duanmu family. No matter what, the Duanmu family will not let you off. Ning Kong laughed loudly. However, as he laughed, he spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned as pale as a sheet. That's right. Lu Ming, wait for the anger of the Duanmu family. Your Lu family will be burned to ashes by this anger. The Duanmu family's elder and Lu Yunxiong rode on the large eagle and floated 1,000 meters in the air. At this moment, the Duanmu family's elder said coldly. The Duanmu family had suffered heavy losses in this battle. Even the elder himself had been forced to flee. This was a great humiliation and the anger in his heart burned fiercely. Lu Ming, wait for your death. Lu Yunxiong roared angrily. Who allowed you to leave? Suddenly, Lu Ming, who was falling, spoke coldly. He suddenly stomped his feet in the air and his body actually stopped falling. Instead, he shot up. At this moment, his strength had increased tremendously. Even the power of the airborne steps had increased greatly. How can this be? Ning Kong was shocked. He was only a few hundred meters in the air. It was too late for him to go back up. He could only try his best to control the large eagle and escape. The large eagle spread its wings and flew forward rapidly. Die! Lu Ming roared. He held the spear with one hand and bent his body into the shape of a bow. Then, he threw out the long spear. Using his body as a bow and the spear as an arrow, the long spear whistled through the air like a bolt of lightning. It was unbelievably fast. This was Lu Ming's full-powered spear. In an instant, it had crossed a few hundred meters and pierced towards Ning Kong. No! Ning Kong wailed. However, it was too late for him to dodge due to his heavy injuries. Puchi! The long spear pierced through Ning Kong's chest, bringing out a stream of blood. A large hole was blasted in Ning Kong's chest. His eyes were filled with extreme unwillingness and fear. As for the large eagle, it was shocked by the murderous intent of the spear. It cried out continuously and stopped in the air. Swoosh! Lu Ming took a few steps back. In an instant, he had crossed a few hundred meters and landed on the back of the large eagle. Lu Ming, Ning Kong cried out a few times in despair. Then, his vitality dissipated and he was no longer breathing. Let's go! Above, Lu Yunxiong and the old man from the Duanmu family almost wet their pants. They hurriedly urged the large eagle to fly towards the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Lu Ming raised his head and looked. He circulated the essential qi in his body and it burst out. The large eagle under his feet cried out and obeyed the order obediently. Ming, are you all right? Li Ping hurried over and asked with concern. Mother, I'm fine. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.